A YouTube channel called Interesting, Creepy, and Abandoned is checking out a local haunted house to see what they can find. They are making jokes as they search the first floor, but the atmosphere suddenly changes as they make their way up an old flight of stairs.
It's just really silent in here.
I'm just getting a very weird vibe up here. I don't know.
One room has a very weak floor and a ladder leading up to the attic. The strange feeling grows stronger as they make their way up, and that's when they find it.
What is it, dude? Oh my god.
A doll has been strung up by the neck and left to hang in the attic all alone. This is already creepy enough, but then the doll starts spinning in a slow circle before their very eyes when it was stationary just a moment ago. The two of them can't figure out why the doll is moving on its own, so they decide to get out of the house before any other unexplainable events can happen. This tiny alien-looking body was recovered in the South American desert of Atacama in 2003. Rumors quickly spread that the tiny inch being, which had gigantic pointy eye sockets and two missing ribs, had to be from another galaxy. DNA testing quickly revealed a different story. The small human was a member of the local population who had a rare genetic variation of dwarfism that has never been documented before. This discovery would have never been possible if not for this video to generate public interest. Hina Tahir and her sister are camping in New Jersey's Double Trouble State Park when they notice a strange woman who is half submerged in a local lake. Her clothes are all white, and she has a serious expression on her face as she sways in place. To this very day, the two girls aren't sure if what they recorded was a live person or a ghost. If it was a person, then I have absolutely no idea why they would be in the water, well fully clothed, and if it was a ghost, then maybe her body is lurking in the shadow waters below. Whatever the case may be, Hina and her sister decide to leave the woman in peace and dare not go any closer. Julia Merfeld gets into a stranger's car and they introduce themselves.
So, I guess you got a little business to discuss?
She is interviewing a hitman for hire. They discuss payment, a good date and time, and the target, Jacob, her husband. The conversation becomes increasingly creepy as they get into the finer details of the job.
You don't want him to suffer, so I'll make it quick and clean.
Perfect.
I mean, I can do it any way you want me to, but I just want to know how you want it done.
Really, whatever's easiest. If you can get him outside, that would be great.
Okay.
Because it would be messy in the house.
Yeah,
They later have a second meeting finalizing the plan. After showing the hitman a picture of the target, Julia starts talking about why she is having this done.
As terrible as it sounds, it was easier than divorcing him. You know, I didn't have to worry about the judgment of my family. I didn't have to worry about breaking his heart. Stuff like this. It's like kind of like a clean getaway. I mean, it's going to be.
I'm just going to take him head on there, and I'm going to shoot him right in the face.
Okay.
Little does Julia know that she is actually talking to an undercover officer, and these two videos contain all the evidence they need to put her away. The judge gave Julia a sentence of between 5 and 20 years. Let me know if you agree with this decision, or if you would have given a harsher sentence. A remorseless psycho has been roaming the streets, striking people senseless with a hammer in Las Vegas, Nevada. This time he's come across a particularly vulnerable homeless target who is fast asleep in the cold street. The lunatic looks over his shoulder. It's the middle of the night, no one else is around. He quietly removes his blunt instrument of destruction from a plastic bag and takes 2 swings. Little does he know his hammer has connected with the head of a mannequin set up by the LVMPD. This is not a homeless person, but rather a decoy that police are using to catch the man who has been terrorizing the streets. It was an undercover operation that they weren't sure would work, but to their astonishment, they catch him after only a few nights. The man, later identified as Shane Schindler, had this to say upon his arrest.
Okay, have you hit anybody with a hammer? No.
His attitude quickly changes after being confronted with the video evidence. Shane was sentenced to serve between 8 and 20 years for striking the decoy with a hammer. I don't think police could pin him to the other incidents in the area, or else he would have gotten more time. Either way, at no point did he seem particularly upset by his actions or their consequences. In the winter of 2012, this YouTuber was almost a goner when a mother black bear decided to charge at him, not once but twice. Speed Shooter XT was hunting in this Oregon forest when he encountered some bears nearby and began filming. The bear starts off by keeping her distance, but ultimately begins charging in his direction. The most scary part of this entire video is the look on the mama bear's face when she begins approaching, played in slow motion. The man managed to scare the bear away by being loud, and shortly after, she charges towards him again before the video ends. Luckily, this YouTuber got away safely, considering black bears can run up to 40 miles per hour. So if the bear did chase him, he wouldn't have standed a chance. Theo freaking Door is walking around outside with a friend when he stops and looks around, suddenly feeling paranoid and alarmed for no reason at all.
Dude, that was straight up like... Hold on. I got a huge uneasy feeling like I was being watched by something.
He keeps sensing that something is wrong, and sure enough, he stumbles upon a large square patch of freshly dug earth directly in front of him.
Yeah, I want to get a good view of it. Dude, somebody was digging a grave out here. Oh god.
Theo and his friends stay around for long enough to document the event, and then they quickly take off. According to them, this is a massive hole that is too large to be for a dog or any ordinary house pet. Maybe I am just jumping to conclusions, but that hole looks like it's just the right size for a body. Let me know if you agree or not. Athlete Chad is finishing up a camping trip with his family in Rexburg, Idaho, when he notices a large bear approaching his motorhome without fear. Soon it rears up on its hind legs to get a better look at what's inside the camper.
Oh yeah. Whoa! Hey.
Oh, no, he's riding the thing down!
Hey, no.
He's taking
Jeez.
No, he'll rip it off.
Hey, get out.
The YouTuber and his family managed to get away unharmed, but the teeth marks on their side view mirror will always remind them they came face to face with a wild animal in the woods. This video seems like just an image of a gator at the start, with its jaw wide open, staring blankly, completely motionless. But it's not a photo. That becomes clear when the camera zooms in closer to the gator's eye, and it starts backing up angrily, its jaw even wider. Then it goes berserk in the tunnel, clambering towards the camera, until the camera pulls away. The gator then approaches slowly, biting on a cord. After backing away again, the camera approaches the wide-mouthed, sharp-toothed creature once more. The eyes, the scales, the teeth. There's nothing about this that isn't chilling to the core. But what is a camera doing up close and personal down in a sewer anyway? Mike Kruger in the comments section of this video seems pretty knowledgeable on the subject. He wrote that the camera was doing a condition assessment of the storm sewer. He noted that behind the alligator, you can see the swamp. The tired gator simply clambered into the pipe to have a sewer nap, that is, until his nap was so rudely interrupted. Downright Dives is a 3-man team of dumpster divers who go through the trash looking for discarded valuables. They comb through a series of dumpsters without incident, mostly coming across old rotten food. They're searching through the last couple of dumpsters when one of them makes a startling discovery.
No. Moved in there, guys. Guys. Moved in there. I'm not even joking.
Neither of his two friends believe that there could have been somebody lying at the bottom of the dumpster. They just have to take a closer look for themselves.
That box right there just moved. I'm not even joking. That one. Oh, no. Go.
The camera doesn't get a clean shot, but you can hear a man pop up from underneath the boxes and screams that he owns everything inside of the dumpster. According to the description, it was a homeless man who continued to come after them and even got into a physical altercation off camera. I'm on the fence with this one since we never get a chance to see the homeless person in question. Also, living in a dumpster is a stereotype about homeless people that is rarely true, so this encounter is very unlikely. Let me know if you agree. This rare footage of a sewer monster is brief, but frightening. The video seems to capture a glimpse of something large with a tail launching around the underground. The black and white adds to the creepiness of the footage, when suddenly something the size of a kangaroo moves swiftly past and out of sight. Although not quite as unsettling in movement as a creepy critter might be, whatever this strange being is, it looks completely out of place in the sewage system. Any idea what this strange creature could be?
Come here, Isla. What's scary?
Emma is too afraid to come into her parents' room because she says she can see a bad man in there with them. When her mother asks to point where the person is, she indicates that it's in a dark closet which is open. The mother examines the closet. She doesn't see anything, but she seems to get an uneasy feeling that matches her daughter's emotions.
What, baby? Want daddy? Okay, go get daddy.
The child turns around and freezes. She is too afraid to move without her mother following closely behind her. There's something about this video that seems very dark and genuine. Obviously, the mother felt a presence too, or she would have not uploaded this video with the title of 2-year-old girl sees ghost again. Overall, more information is needed before I make a final judgment, but let me know if you think Emma was seeing something that her parents could not on that night. This is supposedly the last footage of 2 guys who were driving through a forest in 2006, uploaded by Lars Helg Nedrabo. He writes, "This is some of the footage found on their camcorder. From what they are saying on the video, they were trying to take a shortcut through the forest. The footage is dark and not so clear, but it shows 2 friends driving along a road, laughing, singing, and generally having a good time. At one point, they are in a forested area when they come across a roadblock. One of the friends gets out to move it. The road beyond is a bit spookier. It's bordered by trees and darkness. They come across another roadblock, and the driver stops so his friend can pop out again to move it, but he can't for some reason. It's locked perhaps. He gets back in the car, and we can assume they turned around to get back onto the main road. Then, for some reason, they get out of the safety of their car and head into the forest. Bad idea. While they're walking, they hear something not of this world. The sound is disturbing and seems to scare the men who are searching for its source with a dim flashlight, but they start laughing, as it sounds strange, like an animal choking or something. Soon, however, they're not laughing. Whatever creature was making that noise suddenly attacks one of them. While the other races towards the car, you can hear him sobbing as he attempts to get back inside to safety, but he doesn't make it. The creature attacks him as well, and the camera catches him as he falls to the ground and is dragged off. We can assume neither of the pair made it out alive, as the title Last Footage would suggest. What was this creature? Do you think this footage is fake or real? It's been debated on the internet for quite a while now, whether real or not. It's quite scary. Ethan Menard and his friend are out exploring when they find a long tunnel that gives off a creepy vibe. When they are commenting on how dark the tunnel is and just trying to keep calm in general, when suddenly a small child's voice chimes in somewhere behind them.
It's like pitch black in here.
The timing of this creepy small voice is quite a curious and morbid coincidence. It simply says hello at just the right moment during a pause in their conversation.
It's like pitch black in here.
Whether this was real or edited is up for you to decide, but I think there is a strong chance that something paranormal was down there. Brennan Taylor published this video in July of 2017, writing, "We explored the forest to the depths of where normal hikers are not allowed to go. The things we saw changed us and we will never be the same. We decided it would be a good idea to play the Kukuri-san, which is basically the Japanese equivalent to the Ouija board. First, the man filming asks the board if they're going to run into a body that night, and the board answers 4. Being that there were 4 members in the group, this response must have sent a chill up each of their spines. When asking the spirit if they should be in the forest, the spirit answers no. At one point, one of the crew notes that moths are a sign of the afterlife, and they are all over the place, even landing on the board. They also notice scratch marks on a nearby tree, which seem to indicate that somebody clawed at it, in the shape of an X. They next ask the spirit if they'll find someone that very night. The answer, yes. When they finally decide to leave the forest, they've lost the coin that is used as a planchette. According to the Kukuri-san, one of them must spend the coin within 24 hours of playing, or otherwise there's bad consequences. They backtrack to look for the coin, but the coin is never found. What will happen? Will they have 70 years of bad luck? It's hard to know for sure. All we do know is that they survived to tell the tale and post it on YouTube. This rare footage of a possible ghost ship made waves over the internet back in 2010. Everyone thought it was a paranormal sighting at sea, but it actually turned out to be a rare mirage caused by changes in air temperature. Apparently, when the water cools off, the air temperature just right, it sometimes can make ships look like they are floating. This is called the Fata Morgana's effect. I'd really appreciate it if someone in the comments section could leave a more detailed scientific explanation to help us better understand this strange phenomenon. A YouTuber named Darth Nixa claims to have found this disregarded video somewhere in Croatia back in 2005. In it, 2 friends are hanging out in the park late at night when they notice someone is apparently following them closely without making a sound.
Не, опишу, kaj Sam stoji.
The 2 of them think it's weird, but they don't seem to be very intimidated, especially considering they outnumber the stranger 2-1. Even when the unknown man gets closer and does a creepy walk towards them, they laugh it off as some sort of joke and calmly walk away. Soon it becomes obvious that this person is not going to go away on his own, and they turn around to confront him. The 2 friends still aren't taking the situation seriously until it becomes too late.
Hey, jel si ti u redu, ovako?
Oprosti, ja vam treba pomoć.
The way the video cuts off makes me think that this could just be a student art project that Darth Nixa could have either found somewhere or even made himself. Let me know what they are saying if you speak Croatian, and if you think this video is real, maybe there is a longer version floating around where we can actually see what happens next. A group of Bigfoot hunters are searching for clues deep in the woods when they come across something ominous glowing in the clear night sky.
Oh my goodness. See? 3. And in a different position.
3 orbs appear to form a mysterious triangular pattern off in the distance. Every once in a while, the light on top gets extremely bright and then fades away. They can't figure out what these lights are, and I'm not quite sure either. Tell me if you think this was an alien sighting, or maybe even some sort of experimental aircraft. All I know is that if these bizarre lights really are a regular occurrence around these woods, then maybe the idea of Bigfoot isn't so far-fetched after all. Leviathan published this video on February 18th, 2016, writing, "In March 2015, I went on a hiking trip in the woods of Monrova, Czech Republic. He said after a few hours of walking, he suddenly heard some strange sounds coming from south of him. While walking through a mossy wooded area, he hears a sound echo throughout the forest. The camera shot moves towards the sound, and the fearless hiker decides to enter deeper into the forest to investigate. He comes across some tracks that look Bigfoot-esque, in the shape of human feet, only bigger. Deciding he'd rather live than come face to face with this creature, he gets the heck out of Dodge, but as he's leaving, the strange call is heard in the forest again. It's almost like the wind is screaming, but the day is absolutely calm. On the way back to his car, he claims that he heard the noise the whole way, while guesses as to what this creature might be range from Bigfoot to werewolves. One thing's for certain, stay out of the forest. McJuggernuggets is a famous YouTuber who comes home one day only to find evidence of a serious break-in. Some of his possessions are missing, things that he is sure were in his room earlier before.
Somebody took the hard drive.
Hard drive to what?
All my behind the scenes. Somebody literally came into the house and must have taken this shit. I'm going to check the security camera.
He argues with his father for a bit about the likelihood of someone breaking in, but the security video does not lie.
Hold on, here it comes.
Sure enough, some stranger cases the house by knocking on the door a few times, even going so far as trying the knob. Soon he uses a long tool to pry open a window and reaches inside to quickly scoop up a nearby hard drive before taking off.
Oh my god, dude.
Much to McJuggernuggets' amazement, the window was right next to his bed. He soon comes to the sickening realization that this person, who was perhaps a stalker, literally reached into his room to retrieve a hard drive full of unedited video content. Who knows what this deranged fan will come back for next time? Desertify Urbex is a British YouTube channel that explores abandoned places that may or may not be haunted. This time he ventures into an old abandoned crypt that has fallen into disrepair. He easily gains access through the wide open door and immediately finds pieces of caskets that have been smashed open and apparently looted long ago. Profane is the only word he can use to describe how the situation felt, as if he had no right to be here, disturbing this sacred place yet again. At one point he picks up and handles what could be a bone, though it could also just be a gray piece of rubble. It's hard to tell for sure. Later on, he finds a large plot of land that has also been dug up by grave robbers. He even sees the large rock they used to smash open the casket before grabbing whatever they were after inside. They were probably just looking to take jewelry and other valuables, but who knows, maybe they wanted to take something even more personal and a whole lot worse. A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. Carter is making a YouTube video to show off his expensive new roof, but he accidentally catches something lurking inside his home during the process.
That's right. New roof. Shingles were delivered today. Old roof was torn off yesterday. New roof will be put on tomorrow. 6,000.
A giant, oversized face is staring directly at Carter. Through his own window on the left-hand side, you can see its eyes, mouth, and nose have been shaded perfectly to form a ghoulish expression. I've watched this video many times, and I still can't tell if this is truly the face of a ghastly creature, or just a reflection of trees outside. If it is a reflection of a tree, then I find it weird how the leaves or branches don't seem to be moving at all. It really does look like an unblinking face staring straight ahead. Carter does not seem to notice and continues filming for quite some time. This video of urban exploration, published by Backyard Exploration in January 2015, is particularly eerie because what's scarier than dark, damp tunnels and nowhere to turn? In the video description, Backyard Exploration writes, "As the city grew, much of the underworld was sealed and forgotten. We infiltrate the sewers in search for this lost history. Unlike many entries on this list, these guys mean business. They are decked out with gear, headlamps, ropes, and safety equipment for sewer exploration, and they will need it. The underground is a dangerous place, and if you're claustrophobic, the tight spaces might give you screaming anxiety. Even worse, if you're squeamish, you might want to sit this one out, as there's loads of wadding through raw sewage." The exploration shows the bricked underbelly of the sewage system, along with the sewer rats that scurry across the ground and up the walls. Water trickles down from above as the team continues to trapeze through the dark tunnels. The team crawls and climbs through narrow channels to make sure no stone is left unturned, and at one point, they even walk waist deep in sewage water, which is sometimes calm, sometimes rushing. In some areas, there are massive amounts of cockroaches skittering across the ceiling of the tunnel. All in all, it's pretty much every phobia imaginable in one. As After Dark said in the comments, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of, this tunnel. But fortunately, this nightmare does come to an end. As the video concludes, they exit the sewage tunnel to breathe fresher air and see daylight again. On January 15th, 2013, YouTuber Mr. Hutch117 posted this strange sound heard in the forest.
I wouldn't be out in nighttime.
Where did it come from? We're in the middle of nowhere. The man filming asks. The man believed it was coming from up above somehow, though it also seems to come from every direction. He and his hiking partner had just heard a noise that was a bit off-putting. He decided to turn on his phone's video to capture the sound if they heard it again. Halfway through the footage, you can hear why they were concerned. The sound sounds off again, and it seemed like the guttural laughter of a demon.
Maybe what 2012, it was 2013.
Then comes on a deep and echoey wailing, something that's not human, not animal, not anything known. Well, viewers think it must be fake because the people in the video aren't reacting much to the frightening sound. Others suggest it could be related to the mysterious trumpet-like noises heard worldwide, and some say it could be the US government project HARP. What do you think it is? Something has been lurking outside of this YouTuber's tent since 2 in the morning. Now it's 6:15 a.m. and the creature is more interested in getting inside more than ever. The cameraman timidly peeks out from his tent and spots a tall, muscular lion pacing back and forth. It seems particularly interested in the tent across from them, which fortunately is uninhabited. Eventually, the lion gains access to the adjacent tent and raids it for supplies. I'm not sure if he found anything or not. But eventually the lion walks off a short while later. I have little doubt that he could smell these humans and knew he was on the other side the entire time, but I guess the lion wasn't sure if he was a formidable opponent or not, and ultimately decided to leave him alone. The man breathes a sigh of relief and quickly packs up. Mountain lions are known to stalk their victims. Published in September of 2014, YouTuber Sophia Zhang wrote, during Chris's 2014 summer mountain biking adventure, a mountain lion stalked him, and in this video, you can see how he handled the hungry mountain lion in the wilderness near Fernie, BC. In the video, a man is standing in a clearing with some tall brush, trees all around, and a dirt path. He claims there's a mountain lion in the vicinity, but for the first couple minutes, you have to take his word for it, because the animal is completely camouflaged, but at the 2-minute mark, you catch the lion creeping towards the man who is shooting the video. At least it's creeping at first, then it starts walking, and as it closes in, the man scurries backwards for a moment, then he turns around and the lion is just standing there in the path, looking calmly at him. He starts talking to the lion also calmly. He tells the lion that he's much bigger than him, and the lion doesn't care. He creeps into some bushes, and you can hear him growling, as the guy now shouts, "Go!" The lion just creeps around the other side until he's in full view again. He stares the guy down, seemingly unintimidated by him, but the guy turns around and tells him to stay back, saying, "I'm not afraid of you." The lion then just turns around carelessly and plods away. Just another day in the forest. The CCTV video of Hannah Graham was taken on the night of her disappearance. You can see her walking in the background from right to left with a man tagging along behind her. Here is a closer look at Jesse Matthews, the man responsible for taking her life. Police used this video and other similar footage to determine that Jesse approached Hannah and had a conversation. Police dogs detected Hannah's scent on the door of Jesse's car and around a dumpster near Jesse's house. They got a search warrant and found her belongings inside. Police used Jesse's DNA to link him to another woman named Morgan Harrington, whose body was discovered years earlier. Jesse was sentenced to life for these horrifying actions. Papa Jake is returning to a haunted sewer tunnel that he explored once before. But this time it's 3 a.m. He and his friends think that a large sewer creature might be down there, so they bring a lot of extra equipment, like motion sensors and night vision, to capture it on video. Their first encounter happens not in the tunnel itself, but rather in the surrounding woods.
Something's in the nest! Something's in the nest! Something is in the nest!
What appears to be some type of humanoid creature scampers across the forest floor on all fours. Only one of the two friends see it, so I guess he manages to convince himself that it was nothing, and they continue to press on. A short while later, they finally locate the tunnel. They are very deep inside when a strange and haunting moan convinces them to get out of there fast.
Oh Jesus, what was that? What was that?
The noise is coming from the same direction they just came from, so Papa Jake and his friend try to outrun the creature at a fast pace, taking blind turn after blind turn for a full 5 minutes. It isn't long before they find themselves wandering down an oversized pipe, completely lost. Whatever is chasing them, on the other hand, apparently knows every last twist and turn of this labyrinthian cesspit and finds them quickly. At this point, they all stopped recording to run for their lives. Papa Jake now feels he has sufficient evidence of the rake, and I doubt he will ever go back there. As always, be sure to let me know if you think this is real or not based on what you've seen. Their reactions all seem very genuine, but there's always the possibility of special effects. Though there are plenty of strange noises caught on tape, this one is as scary as it is mysterious. Published by Jimmy Dillard in June of 2013, Dillard left his camera in the forest to capture deer. Instead, he captured some strange screaming, grunting, and rocks being thrown at his camera. While Dillard thought it might just be children playing around or a homeless man disturbing the forest, we'll never know the truth because the source of the sound and disturbance never appeared on camera. In watching the video, you can hear a bellow echo throughout the wilderness, almost Tarzan-like in nature. Later in the video, you hear tree branches breaking. Then one of the most chilling noises is that of a growl or a bark. The thing sounds human, but not quite. You can hear whatever it is clamber through the leaves and branches. The whole video is quite unsettling, almost more upsetting, because you can't see the source of the sound. Although from the sounds of it, the creature must be very near. You expect it to jump out at you at any moment. I've been hiking and camping since I was little, and I've heard just about every animal in Georgia, but I've never heard anything like this, Dillard wrote. One thing to keep in mind is that elk and moose don't inhabit this region, but could it be some other animal? Which leaves us to wonder, what in the world is residing in this forest? This video comes from 2009. A YouTuber named Lullier has been experiencing strange paranormal encounters for as long as he can remember and decides to document them one night as proof. He's crossing through a room when suddenly he sees a blank face peering at him from a doorway. This has apparently happened to him before and he flings open the door. Nothing's inside. Just like all the times before, he shuts the door and the face reappears. Look closely and you'll see a hand reach for him as well. He grabs the camera and looks inside the room a second time. No one is in there and this noise is all that he finds. These friends are too busy gathering around a campfire to notice something is scampering behind them.
The smoke is in my face. Well, you've been sharpening it for like 2 hours.
Just out of reach, watch it again.
Well, you've been sharpening it for like 2 hours.
The furless creature moves on all fours in an unnatural way that resembles no forest animal I've ever seen before. If it's not computer-generated imagery, then perhaps this is footage of the rake or some other forest beast. Cryptid Hunter and 2 of his friends are returning to a cave that they believe to be haunted. This time they are using a paranormal investigative technique that I have never seen before. They bring dolls with them into the cave that they believe are already haunted. They want to see how the spirits in the dolls react to the spirits in the cave. They also use long, thin rods that the spirits can use to respond to questions.
Please point the rod to the most haunted doll that's inside his mind. Alright, there it goes again.
Then the spirits in the cave apparently decide to skip and make their presence known in a much more physical way.
What the was that?
The smooth cave walls probably have little traction, so the doll could have just fallen over on its own. Then again, maybe it was really pushed over by an unseen spirit. Clearly the doll somehow moved, so those are the only 2 explanations I have. Let me know which one you think it was.
And I always look up to the sky and I always say, "Hi, Dad."
That's how a YouTuber named Jennifer Moen5 pays her respects to her dad, who has since passed on. Then one day it looks like her father says hello back to her and her family.
Oh boy.
You can see a shimmering orb rise and fall to the ground as soon as she says hi to her father. I wanted to add that this is the only paranormal video on Jennifer's channel, which otherwise focuses on enjoying wholesome moments with family, so I really don't think this is video editing. I also wanted to ask that everyone please show the utmost respect when telling me if you believe this is real or fake, since it deals with the memory of a loved one. This is 8-year-old Libby Chaletsky leaving his school one day in Brooklyn, New York. When he fails to come home that night, his father looks at the CCTV video and starts retracing his son's path. The school's video shows his son walking down the road and making a left. He stops in a nearby locksmith store and talks to the owner, who is a neighborhood friend. The locksmith has no problem showing the worried father his CCTV footage. It shows Libby walking one direction and then doubling back as if he is lost. You can see someone in a white shirt walking with him shortly before he goes off camera. The father tracks down more CCTV videos from other businesses and paints a disturbing picture. He watches his son get into a man's car and they drive off somewhere. He checks the same camera later and sees them return. The stranger gets out of the car and leads his son into a white building. This is a small Brooklyn community, so the father instantly recognizes this place as the local dentist office. He passes all of this information to the authorities, and they raid the dentist's office and home. What they find is a grisly and scary scene. The dentist has taken his son apart and is keeping him in the freezer. His name is Levi Aaron. He told officials that he sometimes hears voices in his head, though he never said what they told him to do or why he took Libby's life. Though sheer insanity appears to be his motive, he was nonetheless sentenced to 40 years. When Brian Schultz entered the forest in September of 2015, he probably wasn't expecting to be spooked by something that was perhaps paranormal. In his video description, he writes, "Camping trip on September 6, 2015. I was alone and seen strange lights moving from tree to tree of different sizes and colors. I was doing a live periscope at the time, so the video isn't the best quality." In the video, he was reading his live viewers' comments and responding. After the event occurred, he called into Art Bell's show, Midnight in the Desert, and talked on air about what had occurred. You can see a flash of light between the trees, with Brian's flashlight directed towards it. The flash looks like a spark of light. When he turns his flashlight off, the light is broad and bright. Whatever the light is, keeps flashing in the trees, low, high, everywhere. At times it appears like a flashlight. Other times Brian suspects it's a UFO. Others in the comments said they've had similar experiences before with no explanation. Many commenters say at 2 minutes 36 seconds in the video, there is something or someone seen moving behind him.
But this light keeps flashing up in the trees, different areas. It's really weird, and I don't know how to describe it because it keeps flashing in different areas of the trees.
If we slow down the footage, you can definitely see something move. Do you have an explanation? Australian Survival School is a YouTube channel documenting what it's like to live in the Big Down Under. In today's lesson, what should be a simple joyride gets stalled by a large and potentially dangerous discovery that's all too common in Australia.
Get out my car!
The brave man pulls with all of his strength and finally dislodges the massive reptile from its hiding spot. Let me know what kind of snake this is and if it's venomous or not. That way, we'll know how risky this man's maneuver really was. This video is from a camping trip that Emery Buckner and his friends took back in 2010. After introducing each of his friends by name, something catches Emery's eye. He zooms in on a small clearing in the woods that's just up ahead, and that's when he sees it for the first time.
Guys, what is that?
I think it is. I think it's... What's what, really?
Seriously, guys, there's something I seriously saw something over there. Tom?
None of his friends managed to see it, but Emery encourages them to stay still and keep looking. Then, sure enough, the red glowing eyes return.
Guys?
What? Oh my God!
What is that? That's it. That's it. Oh my gosh.
What is it?
They waste little time retreating to their boat and speed away to safety. But just before they take off, Emery catches the creature a final time. It's now casually observing the group while perched in a tree. its head cocked to the side, its faint outline barely visible behind a pair of glowing red eyes. Published in June of 2008 by Damian Black, the shadow people of Emerson County are caught on video, causing havoc in the forest. According to Damian in his description, the first reports of these creatures occurred in 1957. In his own words, in August of 1997, roughly 2 miles from where original reports originated, a video camera was found and turned into local authorities. What they saw on the old tape was scary, mysterious, and remains unexplained to this day. The video shows some grainy footage in the forest. At first, there's just trees and brush, but after a moment, the cameraman says he's heard something moving. Zooming in, you can vaguely see that something, a translucent form of a figure as it moves through the trees. It's difficult to tell if it's a man, animal, or something else, but it does look like a shadow figure. At first, it seems perfectly docile, and then it screams. The pair run, but it's unknown whether they made it out of the forest alive. That terrifying sound may have been the last thing they ever heard. It's a cold, dark winter's night. You're walking down a snow-packed road, street lamps the only source of light to guide you. It's silent as the grave until you hear this noise. Published in February of 2013, Matt J describes what he captured on video: weird, creepy squealing noises coming out of a manhole drain cover in Switzerland. Emanating from out of the manhole cover is an eerie, otherworldly noise, melodic and high-pitched. The noise sounds like some kind of call, lasting for a couple seconds with a pause between each mysterious address. The call goes on continuously, maybe even interminably. What could this sound be? Is it code for something? And what in the world is making the noise? Of course, YouTube doesn't disappoint when it comes to theories. Suggestions range from a person in the sewer to a screaming rat, to Pennywise, of course, but the most likely explanation comes from a YouTuber who offered up his expertise, saying the sound is coming from the flow regulator system. Fair enough, but I'd still like to think that there's something sinister sending messages through our sewer system. A gut feeling, a sensation, is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get the sensation that something is watching you. What do you do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. Aokihara, also known as the Sea of Trees, is an infamous Japanese forest. Well, there are certain areas that are so dense that a feeling of solitude exists there like nowhere else. Sound is also absorbed, allowing for a kind of quiet you've never heard. Yuri, ghosts of the past away from Japanese myths and legends, reside in this forest. Needless to say, the place is grim, and it becomes even more grim when you bring a Ouija board and attempt to talk to the spirits. Red Poppy Ranch is the name of a YouTuber who is looking for something creepy that someone claims to have found on his property before. He has personally searched the area on 3 separate occasions and never managed to find anything, but something compels him to get on his ATV and look again. This time he sees a landmark that his friend was talking about, an old fence post that was once a corral for holding livestock. He knows that he is close to what he is looking for. Red Poppy Ranch pays attention to the ground while he walks. Then he finds it in a small overgrown patch of land.
So now, I'm gonna go see if I can figure out what happened.
It's the final resting place of a 1-year-old boy who was born in the late 1940s. Red Poppy Ranch lives in a small town somewhere in the northwestern United States where everybody knows each other, but when he asks around, nobody recognizes the last name on this marker. Gold. The YouTuber later digs into the city's official records, but he finds no indication of who this boy was or what happened to him. However, he was able to discover that there was an extremely harsh winter in the year of 1949, so perhaps this is what claimed the child's life. We'll never know for sure why this young child was buried in the middle of nowhere. This video was supposedly taken somewhere in Arizona in 1997. It was later found in an abandoned police station according to the description. The large group is walking towards a bright light in the horizon, and it almost looks as if there has recently been a large crash. As they get closer, this alien-looking creature emerges and takes a few steps before noticing their presence. A giant beam of light bursts from its chest, and the group runs off before we can see what happens next. I'm not sure if this was a costume or not. I wish we got a closer look at the alien, but from this distance, I'd say there is a possibility that this video could be real. Isaiah Harris published his sewer exploration in March of 2018, describing it as the utter most scariest video that I've ever recorded yet. He went on to say, "I think it was mostly because of the position I was in, and how much ghostly things I heard and seen." The first clip shows Harris along with 2 young accomplices exploring the underground sewer during the daytime. They make their way along a tunnel to an area with pooled water, which has frozen over with ice. In a second video of the sewer exploration, Harris, joined this time by his brother and sister-in-law, shows how they entered the sewer by lifting up a big iron storm grate and crawling under. The tunnel is filled with graffiti, and they jump down from this initial tunnel to a broader area. A ladder is also positioned there, suggesting that this area is a regular stomping ground for exploration. They continue on, and Harris explains to his crew that there will soon be a ditch with shin-deep water, and there may be a den beyond, as he found evidence of people living there once before. The ditch area is filled with ice and a layer of snow over top. Harris jumps down, breaking through the ice. The other 2 decide to turn back because they think they've heard something in the tunnel. But that's when Harris looks deep into the tunnel beyond and decides that he too wants to hightail it out of there, after he claims to have seen something down there. They start to make their way back, but pause when they hear a growling sound. Harris also notes that there's a handprint on the wall. As they arrive at the exit ladder, they also hear tapping sounds coming from within the tunnel. They manage to make it out of the tunnel without incident, but one does wonder whether the creature within was human or monster. Even animals that look as slow and non-menacing as moose are. YouTuber Azeroth6390 discovered that in June of 2007 when he published this video, writing, "My dad and my grandfather were trying to chase a moose into the forest because it was in a village scaring people. What happened next? Well, see for yourself. The moose is wandering in the forest, and you can see a man and his dog head towards it. The shot cuts to 3 moose running along next to a home, presumably being chased off by someone, while a dog nearby the man filming starts barking. That's when one of the moose has had enough. He clambers through the trees towards the dog, and the man filming the man lets out a crazy bellow, so the moose thinks better of it. Also, he seems to be having a tough time getting through the thick bramble. The moose retreats, and the man filming says, "She tried to get us," in his native language. Moose can be very dangerous in terms of behavior. They're not as aggressive as bears, but their population size means you are more likely to be injured by one than you are by any bear. According to How Stuff Works, in Alaska alone, moose outnumber bears nearly 3 to 1, wounding around 5 to 10 people in the state annually. That's more than grizzly bear and black bear attacks combined. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to feel the power of the weight behind those antlers.
Okay, seriously? This car is haunted. It's off. I just came outside. There's no one in it. Why is that thing just spinning on its own?
Chance Raspberry is heading to his car when he notices his rearview mirror accessory is moving in fast circles all by itself. What's especially weird is that the car is completely shut off, so it can't be from the air conditioning, as he has not been inside of the car for a long time, so he didn't bump it while getting out. There should be no way for this ornament to be dangling on its own. To prove his point, Chance films himself taking a long walk to his car without turning off the camera. It's a good 30 seconds or so of walking. His car is visible the entire time and no one gets in or out. Yet when he reaches his car, the object is still moving just as quickly as before, as if no time had passed at all.
This is insane. This is insane. The car is off, the windows are up. There is no draft, there is no breeze. There is nothing to perpetually keep that thing in motion.
I suppose there could be some sort of magnet inside of the accessory, but even still, I don't know what it would be attracted to. Since my best guess hardly makes any sense, I'd definitely like to hear what yours is.
It's creeping me out. I lived here for going on 7 years. And walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there.
That's the reaction of James Jones after finding a strange human silhouette standing motionless in the Tennessee forest. What's especially perplexing is how James should be close enough to see the person's facial features, yet their entire visage is shrouded in darkness.
It's not a broken tree or whatever. I don't know, it looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times.
Even if this was a tree, there's not much of a reason for it to be completely dark instead of the same color as every other tree around. It almost looks like the figure is wearing a colonial-style hat. Maybe it's the spirit of a soldier from the Revolutionary War, or maybe they were a soldier in the Civil War. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think James was in any trouble on that day. A YouTuber named Sans the Skeleton 101 thinks he may have seen a monster lurking in his yard. The out-of-focus object looks like it could be a creature on all fours, but I'm just not sure. It doesn't really seem to be moving, and could just easily be a pile of dirt. Whatever it is, it sends Sans the Skeleton 101 running back into his house in terror. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think he was really in any significant danger at the time. A lifeless person is wrapped in a blue tarp that was recently found in Camptown, Pennsylvania, and a local news reporter is digging for details. She arranges for an interview with someone named Matthew Haverly, a man who happens to live across from the creek where the person was found. He acts completely surprised about the situation and disavows any knowledge of what could have transpired.
I had no clue. Sad to say that that's someone's either daughter, mother, whatever, both, child.
Hours later, police discovered that the person was, in fact, none other than Matthew's mother, which makes this last comment a terrible coincidence. If Matthew was aware beforehand that it was his mother floating in the creek, he gives absolutely no indication at the time. He ends the short interview by saying how the person was probably dumped in the creek out of town by hitmen.
It would be like a place where people from the city would want to put a body because most likely they wouldn't be found.
Police investigators don't buy this explanation one bit. They raid his property, and in his shed they find the same blue tarp that his mother's body was wrapped in. As of this date, he has been charged with a capital offense but not yet convicted. If he is found guilty, then this means out of sheer coincidence, the reporter had unknowingly scheduled an interview with the very same man who had taken his mother's life not too long ago. She may very well have been standing just a few feet away from a calm and collected psycho without realizing it. Remember that footage of the raging Eagle Creek forest fire? Just imagine being in the middle of it, driving right through the very center. While driving, I can only imagine they're wondering whether or not they'll live through this horror, or maybe they've already gone to the other side. In the video, you can barely see the road as smoke rises all over and hellish fire springs up along the roadside. Sparks of embers fly across the windshield, making the viewer feel like they're in the center of a fire pit. You can also see specks of black ash flick across the window. Finally, they make it onto the main road and make a break for it. Although it's still very smoky, slowly but surely the smoke vanishes as they escape the fire zone. That was one scary and wild ride. If you have any doubt about the existence of poltergeists, this pair of videos will help put them to rest. The first was published by Tommy Wells in June of 2011. Filmed in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, it turns out this poltergeist is not so pleasant. The first clip shows little Christina's birthday party. After singing happy birthday, blowing out the candles, and starting to cut the cake, suddenly the faucet turns on full blast by itself.
Did you like the bicycle stuff you got for your birthday?
Oh my God, Tommy, it's gonna start again.
The family is afraid that it is going to start again and mess things up for everybody, but they're not sure exactly how it's going to happen. One of the adults shut off the faucet as another corralled the kids toward another room. Then things do start again. Pots and pans are projectiled from an upper cupboard, while the drawers open and close aggressively. One comes completely off its hinges and falls on the floor.
What the going on? Go to the front room. Go to the front room. Let's go.
As if that weren't enough to convince you, in a second clip posted in November of 2013 by Bill Gursky, the owner says that things keep moving around the house. As he's talking about eating a pomegranate, the bowl he sets out on the counter has moved. He continues, stepping away from the counter, and over his shoulder, the bowl falls completely off the counter and onto the floor.
I'm kind of losing it here. Holy shit.
Security cameras around his home also show doors opening and closing on their own, a cushion falling off a piano bench, sheet music flying off the piano stand, sheet by sheet, and again the closet door opening and closing. Now, do you believe? An adventurer from India goes exploring an abandoned house to see if it's really as haunted as they say. Within less than 2 minutes of entering the forsaken building, the explorer has his answer.
करके तो उसी जगह पर ये
A heavy negative energy looms in the air. All the rooms look the same, even the last one, except it has something extra waiting inside.
वो देखिए वो क्या चीज खड़ी है
A figure stands in the corner, and at 4 minutes and 25 seconds, a volley of ghost orbs seem to rush out of its silhouette frame upon being found. Orbs continue to dance all around as the figure inches towards with its head down. They continue for half a minute and only stop when the figure crosses into the next room. At no other point in the video do so many of these appear, only here when its presence is nearby. When he looks into the next room, the orbs have stopped and the figure is gone. The encounter is over, and he is left wondering the meaning of what he just saw. Full respect goes to YouTuber Rex Travolta for somehow obtaining this cry-out-loud creepy CCTV footage of a haunted driving school in Puchong. A man goes into the building late at night to wait for his girlfriend for a late night meetup. Little does he know tonight's date is about to get cancelled for paranormal reasons. The computer monitor somehow turns on at the same time, and when he checks the wiring underneath, the screens briefly flash in unison. He runs out of there scared out of his mind, and that's when a ghost decides its work is done as it shuts the door and pulls up a chair. The video looks paranormal at first, but I think it could be really good stop motion photography that you don't notice because the camera's been skipping frames the whole time. And as for the monitors, maybe the computers were already on and had some kind of screensaver on a timer to make it look like they went on at once. A small cluster of weird deep sea creatures seem to be embedded inside a piece of coral that broke off and floated ashore. One of the creatures is still moving and seems to retreat from the camera upon getting sighted. I wonder what they look like out of their coral encasement, probably even scarier. Anyway, no one has identified these unknown creatures in the comments, and the uploader of this video describes them only as weird creatures at the beach and leaves it at that. So let's help solve the mystery and figure out what these are. Myron May has been hearing voices in his head for quite some time, and now he is convinced that he is being followed by government agents as a part of an experimental program. The only way out of this experiment, in his mind at least, was to do something terrible. He makes a 2-hour video confession detailing the circumstances that led him to this point. He spends a good amount of time saying goodbye to everyone he knows and praying over those who are about to lose their lives because of him.
Please let those who are harmed in any way by my actions give them a spirit of contentment and peace.
It's startling how he obviously feels compassion, but still chooses to go ahead with it anyway. His plan is to draw national attention to himself and expose a terrible government experiment.
I hope that my story gets some media attention.
Shortly after making this video, Myron May walks into the library of Florida State University and opens fire into a crowd. Police are forced to take his life. I think Myron was almost certainly suffering from a mental disorder causing paranoia while making this confession, but there are some people out there who really do believe his words. You might complain about how long public transportation takes and how uncomfortable it can sometimes be, but rarely do you think about how you are boxed in with a large group of people who you don't know and how anything could happen. 2 students in Glendale, Wisconsin get in an argument over a cell phone, and one of them calls their mom. It sounds like typical high school drama until the moment the mom makes it so much worse when she hunts down the school bus and cuts it off with her car. This is super dangerous, and I can't believe a mother would pull a stunt on a school bus full of students, let alone one with her own kin on it. I'm glad the bus has really good brakes and stops in time, because everyone knows they don't have seat belts. This could have been really bad.
Called her mom, who soon caught up with the bus.
But this mom isn't done. She pulls on the door 3 times before pounding it with a hammer. She clearly isn't thinking straight. The bus driver is aware that this is the student's mother, but she sure isn't going to open the door. She calls the police instead, which is what I would have done, and then she drives away from the situation because it's too dangerous, which is the right choice in my opinion. Only when the daughter starts going after the bus driver with a broom does the driver pull over and let her off. She could have driven to a police station, but she wanted to keep her other students safe and get the problem passenger out of here. The behavior of this Wisconsin mom goes way too far, and her daughter's outburst isn't much better. Kids could have really gotten hurt because of this, and I'm glad no one was. This video, taken on a bus full of high school and middle school students in Northampton, PA, shows erratic behavior behind the wheel. Students say that she was driving fast on the wrong side of the road. The video doesn't show if she was in her lane or not, but if the whole bus says it happened, then it's probably true. The camera is shaking like they are going fast, and students bump around in their seats more than normal, and they sound nervous too.
Oh my god, I'm literally getting off the bus. Call the school. I'm like, this is not even funny.
Nobody is screaming or anything like that, but they are worried enough to demand to be let off, which would be pretty scary.
Pull over!
You know the fear is real if students were willing to get home from school later than normal, and not a single person wants to remain on the bus when given the option. One girl even votes twice.
Yes! Yes!
Instead of calling their parents like she said, the bus driver just dumps them at a gas station and walks off. Her balance looks normal, but I think she might be on something. The situation is so absurd that some people will think it's funny, but there would have been nothing funny about a flipped over school bus if she had kept driving that way. She faces up to 12 years behind bars, and as of this video, she has yet to be sentenced. What do you think should happen to her based on this display? Finally, a bus driver tells these students in Graham, Washington that they are safe to start a fresh day of school, and they run with excitement. A white SUV ignores the flashing bus lights. When you look from a different perspective, you can see how close they were to those poor kids. It was inches away. So I guess my point is feeling safe on a bus is a big mistake. Known as the McPike Mansion, the 19th century St. Louis home is pitched on Mount Lookout. The homeowner claims the enormous mansion is haunted by the former owner and his servants, which has prompted many haunted tours of the place and invited many a paranormal investigator to appeal to the spirits within. This investigation clearly turns up some evidence that the home is indeed haunted. Published by The Paranormal Files in August of 2021, this haunted house is undeniably disturbing. While downstairs, they hear a thumping noise coming from above.
Definitely stuff.
What the f was that? There's somebody down here. Hello?
As they're listening in, looking at the ceiling above them, another scary noise hits too close to home. It seems that something is down there with them. While they try to determine what that something is, the thumping sound occurs above them yet again. This time, it sounds like footsteps are crossing over the landing above. As they're about to call it a day and leave the cellar, one of the sensors goes off.
Oh, what the f? The moment I stepped in here. And this is the first time this has gone off.
Beeping incessantly, the sensors repeatedly sound off, sometimes pausing before beeping again. Later, as they're leaving, they spot a load of centipedes on the wall, spiders hanging overhead, and Colin feels as though something touched or landed on his shoulder.
Jesus.
You guys come out with the light. I can't see what I'm even dealing with. Let's turn it this way. Oh, he's gone.
Is it the hand of whatever was making so much noise within, or a wolf spider going for a ride? Not sure which is worse. Anthony Powell was a YouTuber who stalked another YouTuber named Asia McGowan back in 2009. All of his videos have since been taken down, but they were mostly long religious rants, which almost always referred to women in a demeaning way.
And is obedient to her husband, submissive to her husband.
After a while, his video confessions became even more dark and desolate than usual. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it's pretty clear from these videos that some sort of drastic change occurred.
Nothing for me to do in this life. I don't have no purpose. There's no point. There's no point to me living anymore.
The people he was closest with eventually reported his videos to the police purely out of concern, but with no actual actions committed yet. There was little that could be done. Eventually all of that would change soon enough. On April 10th of 2009, Anthony Powell walked behind a fellow student named Asia McGowan. and took her life and then took his own life. As far as I could tell, there was no real reason for Anthony to choose her out of everyone else. Intruder footage has a way of making you feel completely creeped out. Posted to YouTube in February of this year, 2020, this surveillance footage shows several alleged intruder entries at Tokyo Garden at Bakersfield, California. The owner of the Tokyo Garden restaurant, Thomas Park, claims that the place has been the target of intruders on at least 4 occasions over the last several months. Park says although he's filed authorities reports for the incidents, he's not sure what the authorities have done to solve them. It's gotten to the point where I don't feel safe and my customers don't feel safe, Park told KGET News. The surveillance footage shows the unknown individuals breaking through the windows, glass doors, and other panels to take sales equipment and cash. According to Park, other area restaurants including McDonald's and Sakura Cafe have also recently been targets. In the first clip in the video, an unknown individual enters through the front door and rummages through drawers to find whatever he can to make it worth his while. On a separate occasion, the second clip reveals an unknown individual with a backpack entering through the window, also rummaging through the same set of drawers and assumedly leaving with some cash or valuables. A third clip, another masked man enters through a separate window, looking carefully through the entire area, above which the register is kept. The unknown individual puts a few things into his or her backpack before taking off. Do you feel creeped out just watching this? Woodland, California. Roseville, California. 2 cities, 2 incidences, 2 suspects, and 2 ring videos that caught them in the act. Their target? Prius catalytic converters. These catalytic converters are inviting to thieves as the precious metals used in them can be recycled and sold for profit. In both videos, the 2 hooded thieves saw off their converter, retrieve their jack, and then race to the getaway car. One man is under the car getting his hands dirty, while the other looks on, prepared to take off. The Prius alarm goes off, but by the time someone is alerted, it's too late. The men are gone and are on their way to B. In the Woodland case, the owner of the Prius raced out after them in his underwear, brandishing a barbell. In the Roseville case, the owner wasn't aware that they'd made off with his car's catalytic converter in the moment, but when he discovered it later, was angry about the added expense at a difficult time. The converter is reported to run around $3,000. Both ring videos show the same silver SUV and blue jack, confirming that the thefts were organized. Arrests were made a month after these 2 surveillance videos were captured, with police charging 2 suspects in at least 61 similar incidences across Northern California after a 5-month-long investigation. It's probably time to get a garage. CERN is the name of an ominous lab nestled on the border of Switzerland and France, but for now all you need to know is that this is where a ritual shocked the science community and launched an investigation into the mysterious facility and its workers. On August of 2016, a scared man watches a group gather in the courtyard from his window. They wear black shrouds and walk slowly as they circle around someone who stands in the middle. The man can't believe what he's seeing and records all of it for proof. At 22 seconds, the person's shroud is removed to reveal a gown of all white. They kneel down and submit to a statue. One of them, the leader I suppose, walks to the statue and turns around to face the person in white with his arm up. The person in white offers no resistance and does not move. Everyone kneels except for the leader. At 46 seconds, an object in his hand gleams in the light as he moves forward, and that's when it happens. The ritual ends with the person standing over the target and getting them in the neck from what I can tell. Though it's hard to see from this angle and something is blocking them when it happens. Knowing that everyone there was a threat and that he could be next, the whistleblower immediately posted this video to their Twitter account for all to see, or at least that's how one version goes. CERN launched an internal investigation and declared this was a joke that got way out of hand. Some people were disciplined and let go. Many disagree with the results of the investigation and think it's real. Here's why. The lab is high-tech, well-known and well-guarded. A large ritual happened right in the middle of the courtyard, and security never came out once. If this was a joke, then security should have stopped it. An internal investigation says that this is a joke, but they never provide solid evidence as to how they came to this conclusion. I'll let you come to your own conclusions, but to me, none of this sounds good. Heather Mack is on vacation with her mother and boyfriend in Indonesia when she develops a twisted plan. She convinces her boyfriend to help her savagely end her poor mother's life. Together, they jam her lifeless body into a suitcase and leave it in the trunk of a taxi. She knows that she will get caught anyway, so afterwards, Heather makes a 3-part video series on her YouTube channel with her version of what happened. It's still online to this day. She claims she took her mother's life as an act of revenge.
I regret trapping an innocent person into this because it was my battle. It's my mother, it was my father.
This confession, however, is actually full of lies to make her case look better. Heather and her boyfriend most likely took her mother's life to claim a large inheritance of $1.5 million. An Indonesian court sentenced Heather to 10 years in prison and her boyfriend to 18 years. I watched all 3 of her videos, and I think she is lying about her motives, and especially about her boyfriend's innocence. No matter whether she's telling the truth or not, it's startling how calm she remains while explaining her actions. There is an unknown flying object unlike any you've ever seen before, posted to the r/chills narrator subreddit. Lucky1196 is wondering. This redditor wrote, "Any guesses? Let's take a look. The mysterious video shows an amorphous blob of light in the sky. Somehow it looks solid and liquid, white and glowing against the white cloud background. The blob floats away from the pair while they wonder aloud at what it might be."
It's not a plane. What is it?
Wow.
Is that a UFO?
Is this an unknown flying object, or as one redditor suggests, just a weather balloon? I don't know if we'll ever know for sure.
Did you see something?
What's that back there?
More proof that Randonautica might just randomly take you to your demise. Premiering on YouTube in June of 2021, Hunting the Dead goes on a Randonautica adventure that takes them in a lurid direction.
Like a little old shack or bomb shelter looking thing in these woods. I bet you these woods have secrets here, guys.
Jody is directed to a forested area near a parking lot. Beyond is a freeway, and they're headed in the direction of a chain link fence and told to progress about 100 feet. Just as they're deciding if it's worth it or not, they hear something in the brush.
What was that?
What was it?
I have no idea. I just heard somebody say something.
They also believe they heard someone speak.
Hello? Bro, I just heard it again. Here, let's go.
But they don't investigate the matter. Instead, heading off, they note that it smelled like someone or something had passed away over there. A week later, on a separate Randonautica adventure at night, they are led to a historic wooden shack. As they're about to get out of the car to explore it, Alicia warns Jody not to get out, saying she saw a shadow move.
Whoa!
What?
No, don't get out.
What?
Close the door.
What?
Close the door.
What do you mean?
No, stay right here. Wait.
What did you see?
I think I seen a shadow of somebody walk by.
She said it walked by from the bicycle path, but this was not caught on camera. Despite the warning, Jody ends up getting out to check the shack, and he probably shouldn't have. As he enters and directs his camera up the stairs, a terrifying sound is heard. It sounds like a voice out of a horror movie and almost like it was played on a recording device rather than spoken. It's a strange and haunting sound which immediately launches Jody back to his car.
Hello? There's someone here.
Next, they're led to another old house that looks like a legitimate abandoned shack. While sitting there, they hear something, but it's inaudible to the audience. They say it sounds like kids.
Sounds like a bunch of kids. Hey,
out here playing this late?
Yeah, there's a car pulling up right behind us there.
They say it looked like a horned beast, like a goat man. Goat man or not, there's definitely something there, and we don't want to stick around to find out what it exactly is. This place just might be haunted by something nefarious. Published by Humboldt Pet Supply in October of 2018, the store's security camera footage reveals a series of creepy incidents that cannot be explained. The first involves a package falling off a shelf on its own. The shop attendant continues to shelve items and then heads over to put the package back. A moment later, after she walks away, the package falls from the shelf again. This time, it also moves across the floor a bit on its own. Another clip shows a cat named Diego pacing the shop. An incongruent shadow cat appears in the light from the doorway. There don't appear to be any other cats in the store, but the real and the shadow one. In a third clip, another package falls from its place and moves strangely across the floor. It drifts slowly until it catches Diego, the cat's attention. As the cat approaches it tentatively, the package moves, causing Diego to jump. The cat paws it for a second before he decides he wants nothing to do with this. The package continues across the floor on its own. Is this perhaps the shadow cat playing around with the real one? Seems pretty catty to me. Pika Eric Evan was a student in Finland who eventually opened fire on his peers one day at school in 2007. A number of bleak YouTube videos were posted on his YouTube channel shortly before it happened. In one video, Pika Eric uses the exact same firearm on an apple in the woods. The title of the video says that he was just testing the firearm, perhaps in a grim foreshadowing what was yet to come. In another video, a song called Stray Bullet plays over pictures of his high school. There are also pictures of him posing with a firearm, obviously glamorizing what was about to happen. I can't help but wonder if he would have been stopped if these videos had been turned into authorities in time. If you see anything like this on the YouTube channel of someone you know, I would hope you act quickly to prevent something like this. Go into the forest, and you may never come out alive. YouTuber Clover Forest Creature posted a series of videos that might deter you from ever entering the forest again. The YouTuber writes, "We are uploading these videos, hoping that people can help us identify this animal or help explain what is happening here." According to the video, they'd been hearing strange noises emanating from the forest over the past week, and when they asked their neighbors, they discovered that others had seen lights coming from the forest interior. Pets had also gone missing in the area. Expecting to find some stray animal in the forest that was perhaps responsible, they discovered something else. In the first video, they find something hanging from a tree branch, which they say looks like a doll. As they continue to wander into the dark forest, they hear something in the brush.
Really? Listen.
Whoa. They run away from whatever it was that made that noise. After debating whether or not to go back, they see bright red lights coming towards them. Are they the burning coal eyes of some unknown creature or something else? You'll have to watch the entire series to find out. Are you a social media influencer? The next time you're off in your own world, filming your next Twitter phenom, don't look over your shoulder. Posted to YouTube by BTS in May of 2019, this video will haunt you. The Twitter video begins like any other, with its star checking himself out in the camera before taking some film of the passing city scene outside his car window. Looks just like a normal everyday video to brighten everyone's Twitter feed, but as many YouTubers pointed out in the comments of this video, some random shadow appears behind the star's left shoulder. What is this creeping shadow lingering just behind him? Is it something paranormal or just a ghostly fan watching him? Judge for yourself. Either way, it's 100% frightening. A paranormal YouTube channel known as Exploring Darkness goes on a two-person investigation that leaves them, in their words,
really an exploring video.
What in the
What
world?
I said we're gonna call this an exploring video. Now I'm getting scared. Dude,
knowing what true evil feels like by the time they're through.
There's
Is someone in here?
somebody in here. Sending us the roof. Nope.
On reviewing the video evidence, The research team sees a hooded figure at 3 minutes 51 seconds. Paranormal or not, there's no doubt that this is the person responsible for making all of the noise. Freaky, right? Joe Pacini is obsessed with a singer named Sarah Bareilles, and he believes their destiny is to be together forever. He makes a bizarre YouTube video ranting about how members of the occult, the CIA, and the FBI are all working together to frame him and keep this romance from happening.
Clearly these guys want me dead. We're in prison, and there's no way I'm going back to prison. Nope.
The video is hard to understand because of his disjointed, rambling logic, but apparently there was some kind of incident at the local gym, and now a police detective is calling Joe's number.
Hello, my name is Matt Huffnell. I'm a detective with Haverford Township PD. I'm trying to reach Joe Pacini concerning an incident report that was made at the LA Fitness here in Havertown. Joe, could you give me a call at your earliest convenience?
This simple request sends Joe over the edge. Instead of calling the investigator back, Joe makes a series of YouTube videos threatening the investigator along with his entire department.
You want to try to bring me down? I will kill you and your whole family, alright? So go ahead.
Joe switches from calm and collected to yelling and screaming as he tells everyone to back off. He eventually calls the detective back and leaves a message telling him to check out his YouTube channel for more information. The police eventually find Joe driving around and immediately pull his vehicle over. According to their report, Joe backed his car into a cruiser and they took his life immediately. I was never able to find out what happened at the gym, so if you know why the police initially contacted him, then please let me know. Do you hear that haunting melody? And maybe the vocalizations of an actual ghost? Posted by Charger3933 to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures a ghostly song in the abandoned asylum, Eloise Psychiatric Hospital in Michigan, which we've discussed at length in previous Top 15s. Charger notes in the comments that he did not hear the singing during the visit, only afterwards when he listened back to the recording. The Redditor was wandering around the abandoned asylum with a friend when he heard disembodied footsteps coming up the stairs. As he tried to capture the footsteps via a Snapchat video, he heard screaming from a distance. He saved the video and later heard the haunting singing as well. Redditor Wubba-Lubba-Dubbity-Doo in the comments writes, obviously we have to take the audio with a grain of salt because it's possible someone was hidden in the building. That being said, I hear the screams and sleep freaky AF. The same Redditor later notes in the thread that the uploader basically caught an EVP. He also remarks that he too hears the footsteps or something moving nearby. The uploader states that he tried to stay as still as possible, and that he would also consider this an EVP, as he did not hear the singing in real time. Redditor quite fast agrees that the singing sounds like a lullaby. The Redditor tried to isolate the woman's voice, and added a clearer clip to the thread. The humming voice sounds even spookier with the audio cleared up, and it's quite fast notes. You can almost hear the words safe and sound. Do you feel safe and sound after watching this video? A channel called Gus Idris Official has officially creeped me out with this scary video.
Astaghfirullahaladzim. Itu Allahu Akbar. Mas kejar mas. Mas.
He's exploring an abandoned house in Bali, Indonesia, when a red-robed figure is caught in his light in what could be a real ghost video. The strange figure is caught on camera mysteriously disappearing but for a few scary moments, or maybe it's simply stepping to the side. They run upstairs and find a different figure waiting for them, this one in white, not red like before. That's when they decide it's time to set this ghost free. According to local lore, untying the shroud is the only way to release the spirit from the earth. He does so, and this one seems to mysteriously disappear just like the legends say. They continue exploring the abandoned haunted building for paranormal evidence when suddenly a solid black orb flies at them and possibly goes into one of the investigators. What's caught next could be a paranormal takeover caught on tape. It sounds pretty convincing, but his face looks dry at 34 minutes and 2 seconds, no visible tears, so he might not have really been crying. A small part of me wants to believe that this is a real ghost sighting that progressed into something even more terrifying, but it could just be good acting. If you work in gas, the last thing you would want is a blast. That becomes clear with this video, which shows the exact moment when a refinery blasted. The footage unveils a series of blasts tearing through the largest East Coast refinery located in South Philadelphia. Reported by CNBC in June of 2019, the 3 blasts occurred in a vat of propane and caused the enormous flames seen here. According to reports, it turned the sky orange and its heat could be felt for miles around. An event like this is horrifying, and let's hope nothing similar happens again in the near future. 2 friends find a giant spider in a cave and argue about how to properly put its size to scale.
The spider here, that's a biggie. There's a carabiner.
Okay.
So put your hand there.
I'm not putting my hand any closer, you can just bring the camera out.
They are trying to use a piece of climbing equipment to illustrate how large it is, but since some people don't know how big that buckle is, one friend encourages the other to use his bare hand. Joe refuses, so it's up to his friend to do it himself. He slowly lowers his hand over the arachnid. If the shadow of his passes over it, then it's going to feel threatened and lunge forward to defend itself. He has only one word to say.
Big. Who knows if my hand's gonna get him.
I'm not sure what kind of spider this is, but the striped markings on its legs seems to suggest that it could be venomous. It's a good thing he didn't press his luck, because being stuck in a cave maze after getting dosed by one could easily spell his end. It's hard to say what size pizza this spider will fully grow into, but I wouldn't want to stick around and find out. I'd be out of that cave ASAP. Mother Nature sometimes digs up monsters. That was the case during the 2011 tsunami in Japan. This scary video is proof that there are plenty of species in our oceans that we haven't yet met. The clip shows floodwaters tearing through the Japanese coast. Well, this is disturbing enough. Don't be distracted by all the debris. Instead, look closely at this waterway. What looks to be either translucent vapor or a big spout of water shoots up in the air like a geyser before vanishing like a ghost. Some are saying it is a ghost, while others think it's a propane tank discharging when its regulator was torn off. A few people think it may be marine life with highly effective camouflage skills. Where do you land in this debate? My guess is something paranormal. Austin Jones is a YouTuber turned pop singer who got into a lot of trouble over his numerous improper online relations with fans under 18. It all started in 2015. When he confessed to frequently asking teenage girls to make dance videos for him.
I used to ask fans for twerking videos. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I think is right. And I shouldn't have done it.
The 16-minute apology video goes on to make some clarifications about the rumor.
Nothing ever went further than twerking videos. They were never.
The confession concludes with Austin Jones claiming to be a better person who has learned from his mistakes. 2 years later, however, he was arrested by Chicago police for pretty much the exact same thing, except it was even worse than we all thought. Multiple fans soon came forward and told authorities that Austin Jones had inappropriate interactions with them online. One girl said she made 25 videos for him, 8 of which were very mature in nature. Since then, police have searched his computer and charged him with 2 counts of producing underage materials. The case is still currently underway and the former pop star is confined to his home in the meantime. Unable to use the internet by court order, he has not uploaded in over a year. Images sometimes crop up on Google Maps Street View that are incredibly suspect. This Google capture is a bit more supernatural. Published to YouTube by The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in August of 2018, this image was captured at Martha Chapel Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas. As one of the country's oldest cemeteries, Martha Chapel was built in the early 19th century. According to travel guide expert Dana Goolsby, the road leading to the cemetery is nicknamed Demon's Road. It earned this nickname from alleged encounters with the spirits that haunt the area. According to Goolsby, visitors to the cemetery sometimes find large handprints on their vehicles. Is something supernatural making its mark? According to the Houston Chronicle, the Google Maps Street View image was uploaded to YouTube in August of 2018, where it started trending. The image shows headstones near a fence line, surrounded by trees. Behind one of these trees hides a ghostly little girl. The grayish tint of her skin gives her a phantom glow as she peers around the corner of the tree. But wait, that's not the only haunting figure in view. Behind the fence line, walking amongst tall tombstones, is a dark cloaked figure. The phantom being definitely looks out of place. Maybe the cloaked figure is seeking this girl. We hope it doesn't find her. Maybe you aren't paranoid, but you might be followed. Published by Jasco in June of 2021. This is part 8 in a series of Randonautica experiences over several days. Jasco and his crew are using the app down in Florida State. During their Randonautica tour, they find an old sofa in the forest.
But, Wendy's?
What we're here for is this. Yeah.
After some coaxing, Jasco lifts a mysterious item that's tucked into its cushions.
Looks like a video game or something. What the hell?
Is it an iPod?
Yeah, what's one of the old iPhones?
No.
Why is it like in saran wrap?
Wait.
That item turns out to be an old iPhone saran wrapped to the letters C and F.
Feel a little bit safer.
It is an iPhone. Look at that. iPhone.
Bro, I always wanted they had like a coral one.
That's so weird.
Okay.
What?
We just found a phone in the middle of nowhere.
I know, it's super old.
They try to turn the iPhone on, but its battery is empty. Later on the mission, Jasco says Chris has been hearing something all day, and now he hears it too.
Like, where else could it be? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. Yo,
like, what would
literally,
it be?
Hold on. Can we talk about something quick? You've been hearing things like all day long. Like, you're like, bro, what is that? Like, I hear like some type of beeping.
A beeping sound. Jen finds its source.
What?
It's a tile tracker, bro.
That's one of those little...
A tile tracking device. She said she found it in between the middle console. They run it over, but it's still functioning.
Hold on, I'm gonna...
All this time they were being tracked. Someone was in their rental car the day before and planted it. But who? My guess is someone with ill intentions. If you have a chance to visit a former institute, don't. Published by Steve Ronan in October of 2021, this pair of scary videos will send you running for the hills. In the first video, Ronan talks about how Lechtworth is where unethical testing was done on patients. When journalists exposed this, the place was shut down. As he's putting on some gear later, he hears someone near. He thinks it's Mo.
Mo?
Another sound is heard, and it doesn't seem to be the crew.
Okay, someone else has to come with me, because I legit heard something.
What the
You okay?
Okay, that wasn't me.
They think it came from an adjacent room. The paranormal activity ramps up when one of the crew thinks he saw a person. They are later walking down a hallway when a door either opens or closes behind them.
Like someone or something walking outside.
They catch the sound on two separate cameras.
Walking outside.
As they continue moving through Lechtworth, a sound like a rock being thrown occurs to their left.
What's this door? What the f?
They then attempt to open the doors ahead and something shuts the door on one of them.
Nothing in here.
What's that?
What?
There's something that shut the door on me. It literally just shut the. There's someone behind the door. There's someone actually behind the door.
They pry the door open again to see if there's someone inside, but it's an empty room. As they're wondering if someone fled through the window, their answer arrives in the form of the door slamming shut.
What the f? Yo. It's hard.
It won't open and they call out for Mo to push from the other side. Mo manages to kick the door open and they're all relieved to be out of that room. They then talk to the spirits, asking them to come in contact again, and the spirits answer in kind.
If that was your way of making contact with us, can you do it again?
Yo!
They race down the hallway, fleeing for their lives, but before they do, they look in this room one more time. Finding it empty again, something starts banging loudly and repeatedly in the dark hallway.
Go through the window, the bushes were rumbling too.
Still nothing to be seen. As they're heading to the stairs toward the creepy basement, a creaky door is heard opening and closing.
It's gonna take us to the basement.
Yo.
Who is that?
In the team's second video, they explore the basement, which they soon discover is just as creepy as the floor above. They attempt to speak with the demons using a phone EVP. As they're communicating, another bang is heard behind them.
Are you angry right now?
When they start challenging the demons to slam a door shut, things get a little crazy, claiming he saw the door shake a little.
Like 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, guys. It just moved.
Mo soon starts to get woozy.
Oh, I'm feeling weird, though.
Mo?
I'm feeling lightheaded.
Dude, your face got all pale.
Pale-faced, Mo says he feels dizzy and lightheaded and so sits down for a moment. They're heading down the stairs when Mo gets dizzy again and falls to the ground. Later, he is not being himself and becomes aggressive with the rest of the crew.
Where is he?
I don't know, man. Just be careful. He's not himself.
Has Mo become possessed? Guess that's what happens when you start challenging demons. Do you believe in the paranormal? Are you paranoid someone's watching? Then the paranormal paranoids are here to guide you. Introducing your guides, Peter, Laura, David, and Riley. These videos were posted by the Twitter account Just the Paranoid. The first video is set in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. The crew enters a wooded area, and Riley explains why they're here. She says that to the locals, these woods are a setting for a sinister story.
To most people, this forest is the same as any, but to the people of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, who remember what occurred in 1994, these woods hold a sinister story.
In 1994, a young married couple crossed paths with a lifeless body along the path. Mary Talbert had sadly taken her own life, being that she did so on a very public path. The takeaway is that Mary wanted to be found. The group paused near the tree where it happened.
This is where it happened. It was almost as if she wanted to be found, wanted to be seen.
They pose for pictures and leave. While watching the footage back, they discovered a few things they hadn't noticed in person. Upon first entering the woods, a disembodied face appears in the trees.
I don't think it's there, Peter. Yeah.
Later, as they are leaving, the camera catches someone standing behind a tree, perhaps watching them, but the creepiest image comes as they're posing for pictures near Mary's tree. Lurking in the distance is a figure that looks as though it's wearing a cloak with something draped over its face.
What are we doing?
Smiling, right?
Smile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you paranoid yet? If not, take a journey through Dark County Correctional Facility with the Paranormal Paranoid crew in their second video.
It all happened here, inside of these walls.
While they are wandering through, Peter is observing letters written on a window when they hear something in the next room.
What was that?
But they could find nothing there. They continue on, heading upstairs, where they discover a bunch of books open on a counter. They wander through the area where prisoners were kept in solitary confinement.
And the inmates that were brought here in the 1930s, they were maximum security.
Then up a narrow staircase, and back to more prison cells.
Did you do that?
Wait, did you do that?
I didn't touch anything.
Riley is leading the way when suddenly she stops and her face is full of fear. She said she suddenly felt cold, and you can literally see her breath on video.
No, you feel what?
Cold. Holy shit. Riley, what? What?
According to the crew, the camera cut out and didn't record anything for a couple minutes. When it returns, they cast a light down one hall, which shows just how far and deep this well goes.
Look at this.
How far back does that go?
I have no idea.
That's pretty cool, yeah, sorry. So, let me get this shot.
And just how many prisoner stories it holds. One last tour by the Paranormal Paranoids see the crew at Lincoln Elementary, whose haunted halls have stories to tell.
So we made it. Lincoln Elementary. This school has an incredible haunted history, dating all the way back to 1976.
One morning in 1976, staff showed up to a filthy school. Although they called the janitor, there was no answer. Upon entering the janitor's closet to obtain cleaning supplies, they discovered the janitor passed away in horrific fashion. According to Riley, every bone in the janitor's body was broken, and his mop was shoved down his throat with just the strings hanging out. Ever since, the place has cycled through janitors, with no one staying long, as mysterious things kept happening. Rooms that had already been mysteriously cleaned, a solidly locked janitor's closet.
Is the legend true? David, what do you think?
I don't know.
They enter the school and for some reason head exactly where you wouldn't want to go, into the basement. That's when this happens. Though the bang terrifies them, they continue on, heading into what appears to be the boiler room. Something is clanging around. And then there's another big bang. As they panic, what they see next freaks them out even more. A quiet whistle alerts them to a figure with a white face and glowing eyes standing in a doorway.
Chill. Where did that come from? I don't know.
He shuts the door as they take off in fear up the stairs. Are the paranormal paranoids onto something? Whether or not they attract the paranormal, their paranoia seems more than justified. UBA is a rapper from Mexico with a fairly popular YouTube channel. Recently, he admitted to the police that he has been working for the New Generation Cartel, which is basically the Mexican mafia. He has taken at least 3 people's lives and even dissolved them in vats of acid. Now police are working hard analyzing his music videos to determine if he has ever confessed to anything else in one of his songs. After all, anyone in the video could be an accomplice, and every lyric or camera shot could be another potential piece of evidence. I watched a lot of his videos for more clues, and the only thing I noticed was how one setting in particular would repeatedly come up. It's always this small wooded area that's by some train tracks. It could just be my imagination, but I can't help but wonder if maybe a fourth body would be found here if police were able to do some investigating in this area. Something's in the water. A boy from Phoenix, Arizona grabbed his camera when the water in his above ground pool began sloshing around at 9 at night. The sound had woken him up, so he told his mother and they went to investigate. Waves were still disrupting the pool when they went to check it out, and although the adults walked all around the perimeter, they couldn't see what was causing the disturbance. There was in fact a quake in the state the same day, but it was hundreds of miles away in Littlefield at around 7 in the morning. Geologists say no aftershocks could have caused the pool's mysterious waves, but there's one promising theory. Members of 12 News audience believed a phenomenon called a seiche could have caused the disturbance. A seiche is when water oscillates in enclosed bodies of water, like pools for instance, usually due to changes in atmospheric pressure. So is it a seiche, or is there something more disturbing in the water? When you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield, take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman, dressed in white, walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there." They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide. Even ghosts need a drink. Posted by Real Ghost Videos. This one's hard to explain. In the short clip, people are surrounding this water pump, which appears to be pumping on its own. The leveler moves up and down with nobody pulling it, while everyone whips out their phones to capture evidence of the oddity. Soon a large crowd gathers, wondering what this mysterious magic could be. Some suggest it could be air or water pressure, but others think a djinn must be thirsty. It's unusual for ghosts to appear in broad daylight, but apparently this one likes to play games. Published by Ganjam's Pride in October of 2017, a female ghost was caught on camera at the top of this tree. You can see the figure of the purported ghost perched on the branch. It's frozen still there, unmoving, and it's not clear why. YouTubers in the comments have their opinions, while some think it has a logical explanation, like an inflatable doll caught in a tree. Others are 100% convinced this is a ghost. I suppose either might haunt you. This creepy, unexplained photograph, supposedly taken by some outdoorsmen while on a fishing trip, is said to be of an unidentified, unnamed forest creature that has since left the internet baffled. Skeptics immediately dismiss this as a well-done Photoshop effort, or maybe even an art sculpture. While this could be an art project that went viral, others think this is some kind of wild animal that has been shaved down to look more human. Not everyone agrees with this theory, noting the biceps, neck muscles, and upper body definition more closely resemble a human rather than a bear or a wild cat. A shapeshifter is what some people theorize. According to internet rumor, a large number of creatures have been found in different locations throughout the world, although I have to add that I couldn't find a single other picture or video that looked anything like this one to substantiate these claims. Going back to the the people who found this creature. They could have at least taken a tissue or fur sample to be tested, yet they only took a picture, no video. So no, I don't think this is real, but things like this are creepy to think about, not to mention I could be wrong. Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now, he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside. His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Om is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and 2 horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown-out window, and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Om puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidentally standing in the exact same place where Om thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment.
तो कुछ आप क्या कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा सकते हो?
But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds, even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Om never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Cardinal Bypass Road in Delhi, that would be helpful. And tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. A Redditor named Bunny Toes posted a really bizarre video on the Chills Narrator subreddit that's worth further analysis. She says she was deleting random videos taken by her young grandkids when she came across this strange moment in her old house, which she has since moved directly because of what you're about to see. Her grandchild innocently passes over a shadow figure standing at the foot of her bed. Bunny Toast says this happened a day before her mother-in-law's birthday, who used to live with them for 6 years and recently passed. She has no doubt that this is her mother-in-law visiting her from the other side. This could be a real ghost sighting, but you do see bunny toes at the beginning of this video, so it might have been her walking away. I guess I'm willing to believe her, because most people would recognize themselves on camera, and the uploader is adamant that the shadow figure in the video is simply not her. Fear Hides Here, published to YouTube in July of 2021, this investigative team encountered something sinister. While investigating in broad daylight, the crew only just enters the creepy abandoned house when a scary loud racket is heard.
Mau cheiro insuportável. Pelo amor de Deus. Nós nem chegamos aqui. O que foi isso?
Something is thrown against the wall in another room and sounds like it breaks apart. In one room, the investigators break out an EMF sensor, which starts beeping dramatically when it's held up toward one part of the ceiling.
Será que dá pra olhar aqui em cima aqui, ó? Ó, parei.
One of the crew boosts another up to the crawl space in the ceiling to see what's triggering the device. It looks like the crawl space was being lived in at one point, as a pair of shoes and a book or pamphlet is up there amongst the soot and garbage. As they realize the book is a diary, banging is heard in the next room. Something is opening and closing the door.
Tá cheio de nome, mano.
Caramba, cara.
Foi isso, cara?
Não sei, foi só pegar isso aqui. Olha aqui a porta, cara. Olha a porta.
Nossa, velho. Que isso, mano?
It looks like the hidden figure doesn't want that diary to be read. The cameraman checks outside, but there's nothing. A short while later, another bang is heard, and that's when the diary spontaneously combusts. Cameraman is holding the diary when a corner of the paper catches fire. He throws it to the ground in surprise.
Ô, vamos ficar esperto, porque aqui é eternite, mano. Se varar alguma coisa aqui. Olha lá, ali, ó, tá caindo ali, ó. Caramba, cara. Ei, ô, o negócio. Oxi, velho.
Pegou fogo do nada?
When he picks it back up, a glass breaks in the next room.
Nossa, cara. Cara, o negócio começou a pegar fogo aqui do nada. Tem uns símbolos aqui, ó. Ali, ó.
O que tá escrito aí em volta desse símbolo?
Puta que pariu, o que é isso?
Velho.
Causing him to throw it down again. When they gain the courage to pick it up again, another bang is heard, although its source remains unseen.
Tinha um Lúcio Te Adoro por aqui. Toma, filho.
Caramba, cara. Olha aqui, que é isso, velho? Puta que pariu.
Nossa, mano. As abelhas.
Mas será que esse... Nossa, mano.
They enter another room, clearly afraid of what's going on around them and the entity that they've made angry.
Sai da porta, espera ela se esconder um pouco, velho.
Que jeito, cara. Aqui, o negócio tá caindo aqui, velho. Aqui, ó.
Aqui é laje, vem aqui, aqui é laje. Vem pra cá.
Puta que pariu, a casa vai cair, mano.
Feio, a gente ficou... Vai ficar preso aqui um tempo, mano.
Later, they are simply standing in a room capturing video when a fire lights beneath one crew member's feet unbeknownst to him.
E agora, velho?
Tá pegando fogo aí, feio.
Another runs towards him and pulls him away, and the fire goes out on its own. For the grand finale, they enter the main room, and one of the crew appears to see something in a gap in the roof. A scary shadow leaves the gap as something breaks, causing the crew to vacate the premises ASAP.
Caraca, feio.
Mano, vamos como é que é? E agora, cara? Ali, ó. Puta que pariu.
Nossa, mano.
Nossa, velho. Vai, sai.
Corre.
Vai, cara. Sai.
What was in that diary? Something incriminating? We'll never know because the spirit doesn't want us to. A while back, I analyzed a viral video of an unknown creature caught on camera in China. People were saying it was a sickly bear, but villagers insisted it was a mythological spirit known as a water ghost. That one was in captivity, but since then another one's been found running loose in the wild, this time in Malaysia. The way it crawls is not like a bear, but maybe it is sick with mange like they say. Of particular interest is where the supposed bear chooses to go. Remember, villagers in China say this is a water ghost, and then it slips into the water. Don't get me wrong, I definitely think this is just a bear with mange trying to swim away from the camera, but I'm no expert and the villagers are the ones who live there and saw it with their own eyes. The point is no one knows for certain, so I'm not going to act like I do. What do you think this is? Randonautica can sure be random, but then again it's eerily spot on. Published to YouTube in January of 2021, Chelsea Luna writes, "This is my first time trying Randonautica and I was so excited to have my friends Omar from Omar Gosh TV, James from The Fam, and Carlos from Carlos The Fam joining me on this adventure, and just like that the adventure begins. They're driving along when something hits the back of their car."
What was that? What was that?
Bro, there's something just hit the back of the car.
It sounds like a rock or a pebble. They stop to see if something is back there, but they come up short. In the distance, something is heard. It sounds like coyotes or something.
Is that a coyote?
I don't know what that is. Stop!
Whatever it is scares the group, and they hurry to get in the car and lock the doors. Later, as they're driving by a bunch of tires, a strange growl is heard.
Monster.
What is that?
What? No. You heard something?
It sounded like a growl.
Yeah, it sounded like a growl.
They continue on. A strange sound effect that the crew missed is heard in the background. It almost sounds like a disembodied voice is screaming, and it says, "You."
Oh, I want to get
Bro, you didn't say it at the last look.
At one point, they're taken to the statue of an angel defeating a demon. Carlos says he was thinking about an angel, so this is a bit freaky that the app drew them here. Does this creepy adventure make you want to never use Randonautica again? Because that's definitely the case for me. Posted to YouTube channel Fox 8 News Cleveland in February of 2020, this video shows homeowners turning the tables on an unknown man entering into his home near West Salem, Ohio, using a pitchfork. This man found himself face to face with a standoff by the homeowner. This was not the first time this unknown person did this in the area. He was wanted for various similar activities all over the county, so it's likely that these homeowners were prepared to greet the man should he try his luck at their doors. After being called to the rural home, the Wayne County deputy found the two homeowners holding this individual until authorities arrived. They'd chased down the suspect into a wooded area by tracking his footprints in the snow. After the individual tried to enter, one of the residents said, "He took the pitchfork, busted my storm door lock, busted that out. There's 4 holes in my door."
You took a pitchfork, busted my storm door lock, busted that out. There's 4 holes in my door.
Authorities' reports state that not only was the suspect armed, but he had a number of taken items in his possessions, which he'd taken from the other similar events. At the time of writing, the suspect was being held on bond, one more bad guy off the streets, or in this case, out of the forest. Not too long ago, someone named Mr. Anime used to do reviews of Japanese cartoons on YouTube. He managed to attract a fairly large fan base, and everything looked to be going well for his channel. Then one day he just snapped and took out his entire family with a firearm. About a month before the incident unfolded, he made a suspicious sounding video called Mr. Anime is Planning Something. The video sounds mostly normal except for a couple of things. He talks about taking a break for a while. At times it even sounds like he is saying goodbye to everyone for good.
I want to thank you guys a lot for sticking with me and watching the channel. I got more subscribers than ever.
I can't help but wonder if Mr. Anime made this video while in the middle of an internal struggle over the fate of his family. It almost seems like he is trying to decide if he should continue building on the success of the channel or commit an unspeakable act against those he loves the most. When inanimate objects start taking life around your home, maybe your house is cursed a la Beauty and the Beast, or maybe it's haunted by a poltergeist. Posted to YouTube by Horrifying Nightmares in January of 2013, the YouTuber explains, "Last week we captured footage of a bull scooting across the table. Some said it was a string, but this time the bull flew into the air, cups scooted across the table, and the entire table shook." Noting that the video speaks for itself, let's see if it does. The video shows a little boy playing at a table. In front of him is a red bowl with something inside. The boy plays for a time without incident, but the minute he walks away from the table, the bowl slides on its own to the left. In a later clip, the same red bowl flies from the table, another blue bowl and green cup slide across it, then the table jumps up, shaken by the paranormal. Would you be interested in eating at this poltergeist table? I think I'm gonna pass. Published to YouTube by Scary Videos in November of 2015, this creepy CCTV footage shows a terrifying incident with a shadow ghost. According to the video, this incident occurred in an IT park in November of 2015. Around 6 p.m., a man is walking down the hallway. His shadow is cast on the wall at the end of the hall. As he turns the corner, another shadow suddenly springs from the adjacent hallway, running him into a corner. The man is thrown up against the wall by this evil shadow. He falls to the ground and the shadow drags him by the ankle across the corner. Somehow he manages to pull himself loose and flee, while the shadow figure stands for a moment and then disappears. It's just good he got away. I bet you'll never look at your shadow the same way again. Another poltergeist is haunting an abandoned church, and this one isn't so playful. Published to YouTube in July of 2021, this abandoned church has some supernatural visitors. Inside the church, amongst the whistling in the wilderness, something thuds nearby. The boys hold still, trying to listen for more unexplained noises. Moments later, they are standing there, casting light on the wall, when a distant, low-pitched moan is heard in the background. Well, in what looks like a basement space with lots of old items stored, a blast of sound is heard in the next room.
Güey, ¿qué pedo?
Ven.
Güey.
Ven. Se oyó acá, se oyó allá. Se oyó allá, güey.
Something heavy and out of sight was thrown on the ground. As the boys attempt to speak to the spirit, another strange moan sounds faintly. And then a couple of shelf doors are slammed shut with great force. In another area of the haunted church, several small successive thuds are followed by a strange double beep. They quickly get away from that space. Later, when peeking around a corner, a cabinet door slowly closes. Whatever is closed isn't caught on camera. Not long after, a big heavy door slowly opens before being jarringly half shut. They approach the door. There is nothing on the other side. As the scary video wraps up, one of the crew is taking in a dark room when they hear a faint noise in the darkness.
Como lo hicimos en aquella ocasión que entramos a este.
They look over, shining a light there but find nothing. What is following them through this church? Perhaps a demon that couldn't be redeemed. Gym class is often one of the most dreaded classes, and this video will give you even more reason to hate it. Posted to YouTube in January of 2020, this clip shows a North Carolina school gym bursting apart on camera, known as a microburst. It tore through this gym. Similar to a twister, microbursts are short-lived bursts of intense weather, lasting often from around 5 to 10 minutes. Upon reaching the ground, the column can direct winds of more than 100 miles per hour in any direction. While dry microbursts are more common, wet ones like the one in this video are rare. Winds can be even heavier with wet ones, due to the fact that they're accompanied by heavy precipitation, propelling the winds to move even faster. As this water balloon dropped on Sampson County, the microburst tore the gym's roof and wall clean off, while students raced to safety from the storm, during a time in which more than a dozen students were playing inside. While the gym is undoubtedly closed for a time for repairs, psychological repairs to those students present during the incident will likely take much longer. If you are a fan of Tales from the Crypt, this scary video is right up your alley. Published by Proving Demons in October of 2021, this video welcomes you to the land of the no longer living. When they arrive on site, the first thing that greets them is a cemetery.
Oh, it's a cemetery.
There's a cemetery here.
Navigating through brambles down to a lower entrance, they arrive at a barbed wire fence. It's clear that the owners didn't want anyone getting in here. They have to wade through the barbed wire to get to the door, having traveled 5 hours to explore this site.
Oh, please, God, let it be open. We've traveled 5.5 hours.
At last, they arrive at the door and are thankfully able to open it. Wandering through the old church, they encounter several crypts. More open crypts and coffins are found at the end of the hallway, while well water floods the floor. A human skull is in one open coffin and there is human hair still on it.
Oh, no. Come here. No. Education. So, I want to point out, just shine a light on it for me. There's still hair on its head. Still got teeth. Obviously, oh, that's rotting brain in there.
As he's prodding the skull head, they think they hear something down the hallway.
What? What's wrong?
Examining the skull more closely, you can see it still has human hair and teeth. As they're talking about how it felt like someone was walking behind them, someone shushes them from what sounds like the corner of the room.
Really? What's that? Shh. Somebody just shushed us.
It seems this team of urban explorers has disturbed the peace. All I know is I would never be going back to that place. With a name like Forest of the Black Cross, this place is bound to experience some shady supernatural happenings. Captured and published to YouTube in July of 2021, the crew are filming at night in the dark and haunted forest, and what they encountered does appear to be supernatural. Something is disturbing the forest, and as they zero in on it, they spot the dreaded figure amongst the thick brush.
Tá comendo alguma coisa. Tá vendo, Gê? Deus. Cadê, Gê? Ele tá descendo. Ele ali. Olha, meu Deus do céu, cara.
The scary footage captures the face of a wild beast with glowing orange eyes, sharp features, and a gray tone. It looks unlike any other forest creature, and unlike any human figure at that. The crew rightly freaks out, and as a deep growl rumbles through the forest, They flee as fast as their legs will carry them. As they race away, howling is heard into the night. Were they really faster than this werewolf, or did the wolf simply find other more alluring prey? Trevor Deely didn't show up for work and his co-workers are worried. He never misses work no matter what. When he misses another day, they call the Dublin police. Detectives check cameras. Trevor is a redhead over 6 feet tall, hard to miss. The year is 2000, so they don't have many CCTV systems, but they have enough. This is what they find. His co-workers were with him at an office party at a bar called Copperface Jack's. They moved the party to a nightclub called Buck Whaley's, and Trevor Deely stays there until close. It's about 3:30 a.m. at this point, and Trevor has already said goodbye to all of his co-workers. He will see them tomorrow. Trevor doesn't go home from there. He's in a good mood, so despite the wind and rain, he goes back to his place of work, a bank that's open 24/7, to grab an umbrella and to talk to some co-workers. Outside of the bank is someone else who doesn't mind the bad weather, a man dressed in all black. They cross paths at 3:34 in the morning. This man has been here since 3:05, simply standing around a bank in the middle of the night for about half an hour. He waits 8 seconds and then follows Trevor to a side gate. There they talk for 10 seconds. The stranger is as tall as Trevor and looks stronger. Trevor unlocks the gate. The man waits for at least a minute as Trevor talks to some people inside. He doesn't mention the man dressed in black, so he must not have felt in any danger, or else he would have no doubt asked for help. About half an hour later is when Trevor comes out with an umbrella. He unlocks the gate and heads home. The man dressed in black appears. 5 minutes later, Trevor leaves his best friend a voicemail. "Hi Glenn, I've missed you there. Just on my way home, all going good. I'll talk to you tomorrow." It was the last words anyone would hear from him. Trevor is on Haddington Road, except something looks wrong. He's in quite a hurry. 22 seconds passed and someone speed walks behind him, a person wearing all black, and that's where the trail ends. None of the other surveillance cameras show Trevor again. He was definitely moving fast in the last video. He could have been running because the rain got worse, but I'm fairly sure he was being stalked. Police were able to verify that the man dressed in black behind him was the same person who was at the bank. Standing outside of a bank for a half hour at night is shady to begin with, but then waiting for a half hour for someone to come out and following them for another 15 minutes home is all the circumstantial evidence detectives needed to determine Trevor had his life taken. They were never able to learn who the man dressed in black was. The disappearance remains an unsolved mystery 20 years later. Not even a €100,000 reward in recent years has been enough to make anyone step forward. With that said, the case was reopened in 2016. The video was uploaded by the National Police Force of Ireland and needs more attention. I would like to make the surveillance video go viral in hopes that someone has the answer. He probably lost his life, but we can't rule out being taken captive. Maybe we can help find him and give his remaining family closure. From the get-go, this video gives you distinctly unsettling feelings. Posted by Calligram to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor teases with the title, "Jump scare only, maybe." The low-def footage follows our cameraman down a staircase, into a dark room, and later into a public restroom. All the while, the irritating sound scrambles in and out. Our film man enters the last bathroom stall, closing the door behind him, then presumably gets ready to do his business. As he leaves the seat, the camera angle turns, showing something emerging from the stall next door. As the video is so low def, it's unclear what the object is, maybe a snake of some kind. As you can see movement on the ground, and then something lifts from the bottom of the stall. Imagine doing your business when you're greeted surprisingly by this monster next door. What do you think this creature could be? Would you ever dare enter this bathroom stall? Nevertheless, it's certainly creepy. A man comes home to find a woman he's never seen before in his living room. She runs out the door and he checks his home security system. This is what she was caught doing: picking a lock and testing the door while holding out a purse so as to look more natural. Soon, other neighbors check their cameras and find evidence of her doing the same thing. Her wide eyes look really creepy, like she's not in control of herself and would do almost anything out of desperation. Definitely not someone you'd want in your house at random. The fact that she would return to the same street day after day fills them with dread, wondering if they'll be targeted next. As far as I was able to tell, police in Denver, Colorado have yet to identify this woman, so take a look at her face and let's see if we can provide them with any assistance. This little 2.5 foot tall fuzzy robot is called Leonardo, or Leo for short, and in 2002 when everyone was playing PlayStation 2 and watching DVDs, this robot was already learning how to think, feel, and respond.
He's alive! He's alive!
Leo was created at the MIT Media Lab in Massachusetts. I know that doesn't look scary at all, but that's the whole point. It's designed so you won't want to be afraid of it. They want you to come closer so that it can learn from you. There's something disturbing about a fuzzy robot exploiting our natural trust for cute animals as a way to help it learn more about interacting with people. I doubt that they would need to downplay its appearance so greatly if the concept of AI wasn't so dangerous and scary to begin with. Anyway, Leo quickly learned how to do stuff after being shown only one time.
Press the red button.
Note how in this next part, Leo is not asked to press the buttons at all, but does so anyway.
Have you learned to turn all the buttons on? Very good.
Again, Leo was not asked to press them. It was asked if it knew how to press them. It correctly assumed that was what she was going to ask of it next. Even today's robots can barely predict what humans want, but this robot, who is 2 decades old, is able to make its own decisions. Next, a scientist flies an object around so that Leo can learn how to track things with its mounted camera eyes. Much like Leo's harmless appearance, they use an Elmo doll to disarm our senses. It's able to track this Elmo doll without problem. It learns how to identify and track red things if asked. Here it remembers Big Bird's face and is able to find Big Bird when asked.
Can you find Big Bird?
Leo has a neutral expression at first. When the scientist says that Big Bird is a friend, Leo likes him.
Hey Leo, look at Big Bird. Don't you think he's great?
It can also be trained to not like something.
Leo, Cookie Monster is very bad. He's very bad, Leo. He's a scary monster who wants to get your cookies.
If Leo can be taught how to fear or love, then he could also be taught how to hate and destroy. Think about what a bigger robot could do with these abilities. It could be trained to be a police robot, a self-learning face-scanning cyborg that can be taught to do great good or great evil. Or even more terrifying, maybe it could come to the conclusion of what's good and what's evil on its own. Leo could be an early prototype for all that and more. Again, this is just an opinion, but it creeps me out to keep robotic AI looking as soft, cuddly, and unassuming as possible. When searching for ghosts in a haunted house abandoned in the jungle, be prepared to skip a step. This video, posted to YouTube by Pratik Paul in July of 2015, purports to show a real ghost girl in Matharan, India. The beautiful stone building in this clip is surrounded by foliage inside and out. The guide informs his audience about the house. According to him, it's one of the oldest houses in Matharan, built during an era when the East India Company ruled in India. A general in the East India Company lived here with his family, including his wife and kin. Although the general was a generous man, during the time of the revolution, the house was lit on fire by rebel villagers. The colonel and his family could not escape. Within 30 minutes, the house was up in flames. Some say you can hear the sound of footsteps within the haunted house, and it's a general rule that no one should enter after 5 p.m. The crew is here at 5:30, hoping to capture on camera the ghosts that are said to haunt the place. After feeling unsettled by something, the camera whirls around and cries out that something is there. You can't see anything in the thick surrounding foliage. Although the cameraman states he saw a shadow, the other guy notes that it's just a cat, man. But then again, he says something feels wrong. The cameraman zooms in on a window opposite, and a figure with black hair can be seen there. One of the men says they heard a sound. That's when they decide to book it out of there, and fast.
What's that? Sound, guys, I heard a sound right now. Okay, let's leave. Let's leave.
Well, some are quick to call fake on this one. YouTuber Science Classes is a little more relenting, writing, "If it's true, then I too want to see that spirit. Do you too? Count me in as well." This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was. Dashcam footage caught this near-passing experience on an icy Illinois highway, reported by Chicago's WGN9 in November of 2019. Illinois state authorities released the footage to warn drivers to navigate the winter roads slowly and carefully, calling it a miracle on ice. 2 state troopers were on the shoulder of Interstate 64, changing a driver's flat tire, when all 3 nearly lost their lives as this semi-truck slid off the road, overturning right into the car. Both the woman and the troopers launched into a nearby ditch, barely avoiding the truck. All 4, including the driver of the truck, escaped with their lives. While this is a rare case on the roads, remember it could happen to anyone. Miracle is right. If you think you're safe in your own home, think again. Posted by Call Me Ace here to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains, "This is a video of a random guy walking up to my brother's home in Houston, Texas. The stranger flashed their flashlight through my brother's front door window and camera. The video shows a man possibly casing the place. If that is what he's doing, he isn't taking many precautions, as he's not wearing a mask of any kind to hide his identity, nor does he take any notice at first of the security camera that's caught him red-handed. If he was trying to fly under the radar, he's doing a terrible job at it. Not only does he flash a flashlight directly into the potential target's home, but he looks squarely into the security camera, capturing his headshot straight on, right before shining the flashlight into the camera's face too." Redditor Stark Burrito asks, "Was he pointing the flashlight into the camera to obscure himself? Bit late, buddy." Other Redditors recommended that the homeowner alert other neighbors to the incident, as well as the neighborhood watch and local authorities. It might prevent the unknown person from taking this further. While you may not have to worry about those you know entering into your home, You should definitely worry about randos. If you're about to blame some nighttime mischief on your pet, hold off for a hot minute and watch this. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Bartonall writes that his cat has been knocking things over at night for the past few weeks and waking them up, which is unlike him because he's a quiet cat during the day. So they set up a surveillance camera to try and catch him in the act. This is what they found. The first segment shows something fluttering the leaves of this flower on the table, but we know it's not the cat because he passes by the couch to the left. Later, as the cat is sitting on the couch, a dish towel falls from the fridge. Then an object is heard moving in the kitchen, and a close-up reveals the thing jiggling on its own on the counter. At the same time, a strange shadow appears on the front of the counter, although it's not clear if it's the cat being alerted to the sound or something else. Soon after, another object falls loudly from the countertop. Thus, we cannot see too well, nor do we know where the cat is. Then, after a strange orb moves through the scene, something else moves on the counter and is pushed to fall to the floor, all while the cat is perched on the table far away, watching. Then another object falls loudly next to it, which scares even the cat. This one wakes the owner up, who calls his cat a pain, but after watching the video in the morning, we're sure he regrets that. Was this cat, as some Redditors suggest, just protecting her owner at night? This abandoned house was a favorite haunt for squatters, and now it will soon be the favorite haunt of urban explorers. Published to YouTube by Lomar Mendez in March 2021, Omar and Chelsea dig right into this seriously creepy house, littered with random garbage left behind, graffiti on the walls, and antique gems that look like they've been around for at least a century. Wandering through the house, Omar opens a door, and as he does, listen closely. You can hear a voice whisper, "Look."
I don't know, I haven't really been here in about a year and a half. The very first time we came here, we actually found homeless people stuff upstairs.
A detour into the bathroom brings viewers one of the grossest things seen in this top 10, a pile of discarded hair in the sink. They enter a bedroom, which might explain all the hair, as the room once housed people. Their belongings are still scattered across the floor. Further along, they find scraps of paper with strange noises written on them. They say, "disintegrates with light," and zap the ground. As they're heading upstairs, something falls in the room behind them, pushing them to pick up the pace. But now they have one problem. There's no way out. They wait around upstairs, but no one approaches, and nothing more is heard. Using an electromagnetic field detector, they sense energy in the home. Though the electricity isn't on, it's a steady current.
Look at that. Is there a spirit in here? Is this your house? Yo, it's steady. Like, for real.
The necrophonic device they use in the basement seems to confirm that energy. When they ask who's in the house with them, a voice says hi, and later, "Sir, hi."
Who's in here with us?
I'm hiding.
Are you hiding?
They continue to communicate with the spirits, and an orb appears in the top right corner of the door. Did a spirit just enter?
Was this your home?
They ask the spirits to make a noise for them. It almost sounds like it says ghost.
Can you make a noise for us?
They both start to feel ill and uneasy. As they're getting ready to leave, Omar says he felt like the entire house shook.
I almost thought it almost felt like the house shook. Like the entire house, right there, just shook.
I don't think I could have done that. That's like demonic.
Not long after, while they're speaking to each other, an orb appears to drift from Chelsea's head.
I don't know, but it's like really eerie quiet now, and like...
Yeah, it's really quiet.
Have the spirits attached to their new hosts? If that's the case, that would truly Mamma Mia. Ghosts appear in the unlikeliest of places. Published to YouTube in February of 2012, Mad Mup writes, "This is actual unedited security camera footage recorded by myself using my phone. The gate captured in the security footage is locked with a padlock. According to Mad Mup, the padlock was firmly locked 5 minutes earlier, and someone working in the warehouse had gone to the keys, and then this happened. The CCTV footage shows the gate being pushed roughly, then you can see the padlock unlocking and twisting open on its own, allowing the gates to swing wide. There's absolutely no one around. Is this the work of a warehouse ghost who just doesn't want to punch out, or is it something not paranormal altogether? But it seems like it just can't be explained to me." There's a scary haunted tunnel in Pakistan that MMTV wants to go exploring to see what creepy things he can find inside. Exploring a haunted tunnel in the desert at night by yourself, what can go wrong? Apparently a lot.
ये देखिए, ये सारा वीराना है और दूर पहाड़ हैं। आबादी से बहुत दूर हूं मैं। ये क्या हो रहा है? स्टार्ट में ही या अल्लाह खैर।
A sparkling cloud of mist lingers around him. Spirits he suspects. First it travels in one direction, disappears, and comes back to guide him towards the tunnel.
और जो चीज़ भी है, ये देखिए, अब ये देखिए, मैं एक जगह पे खड़ा हूँ, मैं बिल्कुल अपनी...
That's really weird, but some downright scary things are caught on camera when he goes to the entrance, like this red stain on the ground that shapes the outline of a person.
मैं एक जगह पे रुका हूँ, मुसलसल कोई सरसराहट है.
Strange, unexplained lights give him pause, and you can say whatever you want about this freakishly deep laughter.
ये क्या है? ओह, या अल्लाह, ओए, ये टायर जा रहे हैं.
It's not the wind. The wind doesn't blow tires. He gets out of there fast, not wanting to face whatever is haunting this strange place, and when he takes one last glance at the entrance, he spies movement from above. Something wants to follow him home. After all of these scary moments, I would say yes, this tunnel is haunted. It's usually obvious when someone isn't paying attention on the road, but what happens when they fall asleep altogether? Posted to the NBC News YouTube channel in September of 2019, this clip captured a Massachusetts driver fast asleep on the highway. Being that his Tesla is driving normally, it's presumed that the car was in autopilot mode, a Tesla feature that's been viewed as controversial by some. NBC News states, it's the latest incident involving semi-autonomous cars that have authorities and federal safety experts sounding an alarm. Traveling down the highway, the video was captured by Twitter user Dakota Randall as he drove down the Massachusetts Turnpike. Randall tweeted the video and later told local media that he tried to wake the driver or the passenger, who is also fast asleep, by beeping his horn to no avail. Randall spoke with WHDH News in Newton, Massachusetts about the incident. I thought, wow, I was just driving next to somebody who was completely asleep. The car stayed the same speed in the same way on the highway. The advanced driver assistance system has come under scrutiny in the past few years. Tesla, on the other hand, claims that some of the videos showing Tesla drivers asleep at the wheel appear to be hoaxes. The company states that alerts are sent every half minute if the driver's hands have left the wheel. If warnings are found to be ignored, then the car's autopilot is prohibited. Whether or not this video is a hoax has yet to be seen, but spotting a driver recklessly asleep at the wheel like this on a high-speed highway would certainly stop your heart. It's a riddle wrapped inside an enigma, published by YB Normal in August of 2010. This scary video purports to have captured the ghost boy of Stonehenge. The mysterious site in the UK is estimated to have been built around 3000 BC, although there are many theories as to its arrangement and purpose. The truth is a mystery, and now another mystery to add on top of it. This scary video captures a pale figure appearing in the shadow of an inner stone, placed between two larger stones in the outer ring. The figure appears to be standing and then crouches down, but can still be recognized on the stone. Some in the comments think it's just the light, but how would light explain the figure's movement? What happens to evil when it's found out? This video reveals the fear even evil suffers when being discovered. If you've heard of the Watts family from Frederick, Colorado, then you know that this man entering his neighbor's home to review security footage is not a man but a monster. During the commotion and trying to find the missing persons, this video was taken on August 13th according to the timestamp, just 2 days before being put behind bars on August 15th. The clip shows Watt's reaction to his neighbor's surveillance footage. The man's body language is quite telling. He will barely look up from his phone as the neighbor talks to police about how his surveillance camera is motion activated. Any motion that happens on the street, including an angle on Watt's home, is caught on camera. One of the videos shows Watts pulling his vehicle up to the house. In the clip, Watts claims that he parked where he did to bring tools in. He then puts his hands on the back of his head, completely bowled over by this unanticipated evidence. He sways back and forth, unable to keep still as his story crumbles beneath him. The neighbor repeats that if any action had happened during this period, he would have caught it on surveillance. In fact, the neighbor keeps his eyes steadfast on Chris, watching him watch the video, or not watch it because he can barely look at it. The entire clip is infuriating to watch. It makes your skin crawl. Watts can't get out of the house fast enough, and the moment he does, his neighbor admits his suspicions to police. It almost makes your heart stop. Truly haunting. Pete didn't intend to make a scary fishing video, but you never know what kind of strangeness you'll find while casting off in the murky canals of Florida.
Got him again. Right out of that tunnel he came. Oh, I'm trying to get my bath.
Pete is reeling in a fish when a cunning creature cuts off his catch. Whatever's underwater is never fully shown, but at 6 minutes and 44 seconds, it comes close to the surface. What little we do see looks like it could be the shape of an alligator. A very dark figure is caught on camera, but the creature remains unidentified. One thing's clear, some scary stuff is lurking in that storm system, so he better not stand so close. What do you think it is? Is this an elf or a small child? Posted to TikTok by Gonzo de Goose. This scary clip was captured at 3 a.m. on CCTV. The video shows a small figure, the height of a toddler, entering the frame. The figure walks around a vehicle and then disappears between the two vehicles parked in the driveway. The TikToker is wondering if it's a kid or an elf, considering it's 3 a.m. as Gonzo noted. Both options are frightening. A strange creature sighting has some people freaking out, while others are screaming fake. Someone is filming across the street late at night when a long spidery shadow sweeps across the face of a building opposite of them. Then it's gone. At 55 seconds, you get a better look at some kind of long-limbed lurker clutching crevices before descending back into the shadows. It passes over a window, and fortunately for whoever lives there, does not try to squeeze its way inside. What little is caught on camera is scary, but almost definitely edited. The video quality is very pixelated and almost certainly the after effects of studio software rather than an organic creature sighting. If this was a real sighting, a creature this big would probably have multiple videos, especially being sighted out of an apartment complex, not just a single grainy encounter. This complex has been abandoned for 20 years due to rumored dark magic being done in the place. It is now believed to be haunted. Published to the r/ghosts subreddit. By Kevin ADITM, this scary video was filmed in the abandoned Indonesian housing complex and caught something lurking in the shadows while trying to communicate with the spirits of this place using a spirit box. The men stand in a hallway waiting for some response. Hearing a noise behind him, the cameraman pans around, and it's then that they receive one, but it's visual rather than audible. A shadow appears momentarily in the corner of an open doorway. It looks like a shadow person peeking out for a moment before pulling back and disappearing. Some in the comments think it's a shadow of the garment hanging by the door, cast at an awkward angle by the light, but others argue that the garment is unable to cast a shadow in that direction because the wall clearly obstructs it. Whose side are you on? Can this be explained by the cloth, or is this footage truly paranormal? I'm siding with the second option for this footage. Pitcher, Oklahoma is said to be one of the creepiest ghost towns in all of the United States, full of scary abandoned places you'd never want to go exploring on your own. But I'll go into a little more detail about its mysterious history in a second. First, this video shows what goes wrong when you come to this place. To their horror, they capture what they later describe as a goblin-like creature on their camera. The pale ghoul has a completely white bald head with chiseled features and a pointy, elongated ear. When it turns to look at them, this still image at 34 seconds does not exactly look like a mask, but rather a person. It seems to possess excellent hearing and turns around at the sight of a slight exhale. Now, here's where things get truly bizarre. You see, this area was responsible for half of the country's lead production at one point. The town of Pitcher was shut down after large mounds of toxic material were found dumped all around the town, byproducts of local lead and zinc mines. Thousands of people used to live here. Now there's less than 20. And this could be one of the few remaining residents. Being haunted by a video game may seem strange, but many in the comments admit to being haunted by this buried alive hidden floor on Pokemon Tower. YouTuber 7Go6 posts a video of the secret room writing, "Finally I found the battle with buried alive, hidden in the last floor of Pokemon Tower. The rumors were real. If you lost against him, will appear the image of buried alive catching you, with the music of Lavender Town lower, reversed, and slower. When the music finish, the game collapses and the save gets deleted." The early graphics and eerie Nintendo music make this throwback all the more haunting. After navigating to the hidden floor on Pokemon Tower, a battle with buried alive ensues. He sends a creature called White Hand to fight the hero. When White Hand ultimately wins, draining the life from the Pokemon, he faints, to which White Hand exclaims, "Finally, raw meat." What is standing in the hallway? Posted to TikTok by BV1150, this set of creepy videos has me hiding under the covers. The TikToker is in his room, where he hears a repeated bang coming from his closet. He wakes his friend up, who is sleeping on the floor. And then goes to slide the closet door open and reveal whoever is making the noise. But no one is there. In another of his videos, he appears to find what he was looking for. Unlocking his bedroom door, he opens it, and there's a clear outline of a dark figure standing at the end of a hallway, facing him.
Hey guys, I think this might be the last time.
He quickly slams the door shut and locks it again. Some in the comments of the video suggest that he take a run at it. Others think maybe the creature is just delivering DoorDash. Whatever is happening here, this isn't BV's house anymore, because it seems a ghost has taken over. Are we seeing what I think we're seeing? Posted to TikTok by Lenore Kongi. This creepy CCTV footage was taken outside of a home in November of 2020 at around 4 p.m. The footage shows a man walking down the street. The man at first appears perfectly normal from far away, but zoom in and you'll see something is off. His head, to be exact. Even creepier, the man appears to be carrying something in one hand. Could it be his own head? What do you think? Is this somehow a camera glitch? Or is this Sleepy Hollow all over again? This Saudi Arabian YouTuber decided to do some urban exploring in 2018. The property looks long abandoned, and they are forced to explore only by flashlight. Despite the creepy feel of the place from the very start, the men brave it out and continue exploring. It starts to appear as though the men are being watched, and on multiple occasions they check their surroundings to make sure they are all alone. It turns out their instincts are correct, as they capture what they claim is a witch. It definitely appears to be someone dressed in all black robes, with their face fully covered. I believe someone might have actually been living on the property, and they wanted to scare them away. Or do you think the YouTuber was correct, and this was an actual witch? Houses aren't the only stomping grounds for ghosts. Apparently, so are Walmarts. Posted by YouTuber Shabard, he notes that this little girl Walmart ghost was caught on surveillance camera in Oxnard, California. Shabard writes, Walmart is haunted by the ghost of a 7 to 9-year-old Mexican-American girl. According to Shabard, night workers at Walmart claim to have felt cold spots and to have seen balls bouncing on their own. Others say they've seen the girl in a solid full apparition, while the ghost has appeared to some as a misty half-body apparition. Those who come across the ghost state that she smiles, giggles, and is often playful, but there's just one problem. According to the website Backpackerverse, the girl's eyes are disturbingly milky white, and from the mouth down, her whole body is covered in red. Liquid, apparently an appalling amount of it. The video purportedly captures this friendly ghost in semi-transparent form. She appears to be pursuing the closed section of Walmart. She can be seen for a split second before she vanishes out of view again. She isn't wearing her regular blue dress, but appears to be wearing some shorts and a t-shirt. She also does not seem to be covered in red, so who knows? Perhaps there's a second ghost haunting these hallowed grounds. A coffee shop in New Jersey, known only as the Cafe, is rumored to be quite haunted. This used to be a hardware store long ago, and every day at 3 in the afternoon, the old owner is said to still make rounds. A paranormal investigation team sets up a camera to test the rumor out, and sure enough, at 3 in the afternoon, this light anomaly plays against the wall. It looks like someone is walking through the room at first, but then again, it could simply be light reflecting off the window of a vehicle driving by. Roughly half an hour later is when a second camera records this chair moving by itself. First it pulls out and then it smoothly goes back into place, like somebody sitting at the table. There are no strings on the legs and no visible shadow on the wall, so I think it could have been a ghost like they say it was. The ghost hunters also claim to have heard footsteps too, but unfortunately the video evidence does not have sound, so there's no way to verify that part of their investigation. This happened in May of 2020, so hopefully we get more potential ghost sightings from this coffee shop in the near future. Keep your eyes peeled. The shadow people are everywhere. Published by Ghost Tech Paranormal Investigations in April of 2020. The team investigates multiple shadow people sightings throughout this video. Here, various shadow figures are seen appearing in multiple pieces of footage from all over the world. A figure on an isolated road in the woods. woods. Another in this room was captured on a security camera, one peeking around the corner downstairs, the creepy figure in the bedroom, this one crossing before a fireplace at the end of the hallway, this nightmare on an abandoned airplane, and this subtle shadow in the doorway. The figure appears before some lights, this one in the reflection of a refrigerator, another at the end of a spooky hallway, yet another near this coffin, and again in front of these spotlights, this one on the stairwell, another beyond this set of doors, and the last on this paranormal investigation. This video certainly seems convincing, especially due to the multiple sightings. So let me know in the comments, do you believe in shadow people? Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's best that certain things remain invisible to the human eye. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex. This video was taken at the haunted Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. Originally posted on YouTube in March of 2020, Tex writes, I have been listening to creepy stories and been watching YouTube videos about ghost investigations and experiences since they existed, which resulted in me paying more attention to my surroundings, heightening my awareness. The Queen Anne Hotel has some history. Located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, initially built as a girls' boarding school, the Queen Anne Hotel is said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Mary Lake. Her office at room 410 is believed to be the most haunted room in the building. The uploader of the video booked this room to stay in overnight. In preparation for the stay, she bought a FLIR thermal cam for her iPhone. She duly notes that the hotel is charming as heck, and she didn't feel anything particularly unsettling while there. That is until she thermal cammed room 410. She tested out her thermal cam on her husband, on electrical sockets, water lines, and other hot and cold spots. Then she entered the bathroom. Pointing her thermal cam towards the half-closed shower curtain, she started to see a figure in the thermal footage next to her that she believed appeared from behind the curtain. As you can see, there is her own thermal image in its reflection, and not too far away right beside it, another full-sized figure. Could it be headmistress Mary Lake herself? When going through pictures she took of the room, the uploader also discovered this creepy face in the wallpaper. Do you see it? It's almost like the room is watching you.
There's an alleged wolf cryptid that's said to roam the Allegheny National Park in Kane, Pennsylvania. The first sighting in 2017 describes it as tall, muscular, dark hair, and strange legs. This newer sighting 2 years later at the same location does show a mysterious creature with long, pointy wolf-like ears, but I'm not sure if it's real. First of all, when it takes a step at 44 seconds, the legs look normal and I'm pretty sure it's wearing clothes, not fur. Even the uploader of this video thinks it could have been a kid playing a joke. He says that the creature turned and ran after this video was taken, which I guess could have happened, but something about this video seems like it could have been made up, so I'm not exactly sure what to believe.
A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps beeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job. Go into the forest and you may never come out alive. YouTuber Clover Forest Creature posted a series of videos that might deter you from ever entering the forest again. The YouTuber writes, "We are uploading these videos, hoping that people can help us identify this animal or help explain what is happening here." According to the video, they'd been hearing strange noises emanating from the forest over the past week, and when they asked their neighbors, they discovered that others had seen lights coming from the forest's interior. Pets had also gone missing in the area. Expecting to find some stray animal in the forest that was perhaps responsible, they discovered something else. In the first video, they find something hanging from a tree branch, which they say looks like a doll. As they continue to wander into the dark forest, they hear something in the brush.
Really? Listen.
Whoa. They run away from whatever it was that made that noise. After debating whether or not to go back, they see bright red lights coming towards them. Are they the burning coal eyes of some unknown creature or something else? You'll have to watch the entire series to find out. A paranormal crew communicated with numerous unearthly entities in this haunted place. Published by Paranormal Voyages in January of 2022, the crew first records a disembodied voice that they don't seem to hear in the moment.
Yeah.
A moment later, while they're communicating through the spirit box, something appears over one of their shoulders. They then hear what sounds like a scream.
It's like a scream. Yes, it's a scream.
Oh, that was disembodied.
That sounded like it was disembodied to me.
It was a scream.
The spirits tell one of the crew to move forward.
Something's telling me for you to move forward a little more. What?
What the heck was that? You hear that?
Whoa. Okay.
I want to move forward.
Later, while using a Kinect, an anomaly is detected. After being bombarded with questions, the spirits have a question for the crew.
But why? Oh! No. Oh my, you hear that whisper? But why? But why? And asked for a baby. Yeah. And we said no, and it goes, but why?
While they continue to communicate, one of the crew feels a sharp pain in his heart.
What? Jeez. Heart just hurt. You all right? Yeah, I think that was like a sharp pain.
Back with the Kinect, another anomaly makes its presence known. What do all these spirits want with the living? Maybe if we listen closely, we'll hear it. A ghost voice drifting from deep inside a tunnel is something that nightmares are made of. That's what Amy Dancing Again posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit under the title, Ghost Voice at WW2 Oil Storage Tunnels in Darwin, NT, Australia. Although the acoustics of this tunnel have been called haunting, our research uncovered no further reported paranormal activities in the tunnels, although they seem like the perfect setting for them. The tunnels were built to protect oil. Japan went after the city of Darwin no less than 64 times during this time frame, ending in 1945, with only 6 of the 11 tunnels completed. The tunnels were then opened to the public in 1992, which is how this Redditor came to explore them. They were the only people in the tunnel, as they arrived early. Another Redditor wrote in the thread that the way the camera moves when you hear the voice makes the video seem legit. What is this voice saying? I just can't seem to make it out. YouTuber Moxley's Crazy Adventures posted this haunted graveyard video in November of 2019, writing, "Welcome back to my first haunted graveyard. I went here to see what I could capture, if anything at all. What I did capture was insane. Alright, you reeled us in. Let's just hope you deliver." And Moxley does deliver. He captures a dark shadow-like figure gliding across the backdrop of a lit brick wall. He shouts out to it, but it doesn't respond.
What the hell is that? Hello?
He later hears heavy footsteps nearby. They're clearly heard in the leaves around him. In the comments, YouTuber Spooky Spectre notes that this thing wasn't moving like a human being, nor did the brush move as it passed by. It also didn't respond when being called out to, or make noise or footsteps. Do you agree with Spooky Spectre? Did this freak you out? If not, then you're one brave cookie. A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Scary, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful. I don't like that at all. We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something. That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. Someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go. Okay, we're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera, and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. Scary Surreal Places in Time Lapse is a YouTube channel that speeds up raw footage of odd and interesting locations in search of anything out of the ordinary. They are recording a pier at random when this strange creature comes rushing towards them. I would say this is just a fish, but the animal clearly starts on land and paddles to them before submerging at the last second. They shine their lights around both sides of the pier, but whatever it was is long gone. The animal is very small, but the wide wake left in its path suggests that it's much more powerful than it seems. Leave me your best guess as to what this could be, because even the uploaders of this video have never seen anything move like it before, and they themselves are not sure what it was. Luna Meow has a natural ability to communicate with the paranormal that she intends to explore to the fullest on her ghost hunting channel by the same name.
Guys, to turn on the flashlight that's next to me. Please. Do you think you can do that? How many of you were married when you... Okay. I don't like that. That's scary.
At 17 seconds, she appears to feel a presence draw near, and when she looks over her shoulder a second time, the flashlight is on. It doesn't look like anyone is nearby, at least nobody who is alive. The object just turns on by itself like a ghost touches it.
Turn the flashlight on.
They aren't interested in answering any more questions and simply turn the flashlight off without further interaction. Maybe they just wanted to let Luna know that they were here, watching. During a different investigation, Luna and some friends try to summon a spirit, and it just might have worked.
Oh, look at it. Thank you. You know, other people are here on
Don't you? Don't you?
Does it really make you happy?
Sorry.
But perhaps the creepiest video of all comes from the Omen House in Beverly Hills, California. This is where a nefarious group gained access to a famous celebrity's home, and she did not last against them for long. Their paranormal equipment detects the motion of a spirit nearby, though it could be detecting the movement of this ghost hunter picking up the K2 meter at 5 seconds. Still, if you look very closely, the K2 meter detects a spike of paranormal energy at the same time the motion sensors go off, and shortly thereafter this mysterious blue light sweeps across the room that they all swear was not a flashlight. I have my doubts about this until one of the team bangs a shelf and jumps up and down to demonstrate that all of the items on this shelf are stable, but as soon as he walks away, this object falls over by itself, something which apparently happens all the time.
Want to show them one more time? A final goodbye before they all leave? Or are you just going to keep doing this? They're going to jump.
The same exact object falls over all by itself. On one hand, the same object moving twice could be a sign of a ghost manipulating objects at will, but on the other hand, maybe this toy is simply unbalanced and falls over on its own a lot. Still, the fact that it happens while he is walking away seems to suggest that this is the work of a ghost with selective intelligence who wants attention. When you enter an abandoned building, you don't expect to find a fully functioning service room inside, but that's what YouTuber Shai found in February of 2018. The footage begins at the top of a tower in an industrial looking area. He then enters a building. The place is obviously abandoned, with no soul in sight, an empty auditorium, a lonely ping pong table, and then descending to the cold dark basement, which is where he finds the service room in question. Picking up the phone, although he doesn't hear a dial tone, he does receive the tone indicating the phone has been disconnected. Also inside are loads of hardware and servers, blinking lights flashing and all. Next, he happens upon an old computer, which he plugs in. Pushing the button on the tower, the modem turns on. Windows 95 appears, then a black screen with code. A username password screen appears. After attempting to enter something, Shai is told by his live streamers to hit cancel, which he does. He is then allowed to enter. After exploring the computer's contents for a bit, Shai decides to unplug the computer and gets out of there, muttering about a potential secret government project. Was Shai on the right track? Did he just tap into something top secret? I guess we will never know what were on those computers, unless Shai decides to go back and investigate further. Sometimes ghost hunters become the hunted, published by Yoon Sai-won in April of 2021. That's what happened to this Korean ghost hunter on one of his most recent investigations. Upon entering the haunted locale, he hears a strange noise.
안녕하세요.
It could be a dog barking in the distance, but who knows? Whatever it is, he has a bad feeling. And that feeling grows when the EMF meter reacts strongly, despite there being no electricity in the place. Using facial recognition software, faces also start to appear around the abandoned place. And they're getting closer by the second. Later, as the ghost hunter is using a spirit box, he hears a loud bump in the night. And then again as he continues his search. Is Yoon Sai-won being stalked? It may be best to call off this ghost hunt. Jeff Kessler is camping in the middle of nowhere, all by himself, when a low rumbling noise jolts him awake. It's coming from just outside his tent. He bravely investigates the perimeter of his campsite, armed with only a flashlight. After some searching, he finally comes across the creature that woke him up a few minutes earlier. It appears to be an oddly shaped humanoid creature with broad hips and shoulders, but skinny limbs and a narrow head. Jeff only briefly catches it on camera before turning to run. Apparently, park rangers found his camera under this heavy and mysterious structure of bundled trees, but no signs of Jeff himself. I could find no news articles to verify this story as real, so it could just be an art project. Then again, or maybe it was even a cover-up. Let me know what you think. This one will get you all kinds of nervous. According to the video, paranormal events have occurred in Guadalajara, Mexico, when a tourist was visiting the cathedral where the saint lays. The young child's eyes opened. According to the website La Oscura Habitación, the video was taken on December 12, 2012. The tourist who took the video footage on his cell phone claimed that he hadn't witnessed the child's eyes open at the time, but only saw it afterwards in viewing the video. The stories of how this saint became martyred are contradictory. Some stories call into question whether this is even the saint, as it's stated that all the reliquaries that remain of her are her skeletal hands. Whether this is the saint or not, the mystery begins and ends here. The girl is clearly past, has been for many years, and yet she's opening her eyes. When a Shadow Welcomes You, Run and Hide, published by Polish Paranormal TV in October of 2021. This scary video explores a haunted place in Poland. Upon entering, the team uses a spirit box as they head up the stairs. Right away, the spirits start speaking. According to a translation, the spirit says either "I'm here" or "welcome here." But how welcome are they? Later, while walking down a hallway, a shadowy figure is spotted leaning against the door frame. You can see it more clearly in slow motion. Do you see it? If you do, this figure will haunt your eyes for eternity. 4 friends are playing Wii Sports late at night with no one else home and no one expected to join them later. Keep in mind, this is 2008. When recording yourself playing video games without showing the actual screen was normal. Anyway, with their backs turned, a mysterious figure darts past the window unnoticed and unannounced. The strange silhouette is transparent and just kind of appears in the middle of the window out of nowhere, more like a ghost than a person passing by. Or it could be the person in the white shirt's reflection when they leave the frame and bend over, accidentally creating the illusion of someone running past. A YouTuber named Seeking Legends has over 7 years worth of videos where he tracks down spirits and cryptids throughout the Las Vegas area and surrounding states. His subscribers know he doesn't play up his videos at all and isn't afraid to say when he thinks a location has nothing abnormal to offer. This wasn't the case when he went to a haunted forest on February 16, 2018 in search of the infamous White Witch, the spirit of a woman who once hiked this area a lot with her family and who was taken captive by unsavory locals. She escaped, but her family did not, and ever since then she has been roaming the woods looking for revenge. She cursed the land before taking her life in the very spot Cryptid Hunter stands now. He uses a paranormal dowsing rod, which is said to be able to tap into supernatural energy to better communicate with any nearby spirits. It isn't long before he finds one to speak with.
Can you point the rod to me? You see that I'm not moving this.
And I do mean speak with. There are no approaching footsteps, so it's not someone hiking, just eerie voices carrying over the water, just like the legends say, and the voices patiently wait until the command is complete before talking again.
Bend the rod in the opposite direction of me.
I don't think it's his nerves moving the rod, and his hand looks almost completely still to me, so maybe there's some truth to this piece of equipment after all.
If you were a victim of somebody in here, can you make my rod spin, please?
Here is an even better close-up of his hand at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. As the spirits continue to turn it around and around, none of his fingers are moving at all in the slightest. When asked for additional confirmation that the White Witch is here, 2 strange notes play. If you don't think this is paranormal, then tell me what you think would have made this noise in the middle of the forest. Soon he feels a presence guiding him and uses the rod to determine where to go next.
If this is where you want me to be, stop spinning the rod. Now. Where are you standing? Point the rod.
These instructions are further confirmed using his EMF meter, and at the end is a strange beeping noise coming from deeper in the woods that the EMF meter can't even make.
If this is where you wanted me to stand.
And just to prove it wasn't a coincidence, he easily gets it to respond again.
Can you do that again? Thank you.
There's no button on the meter for him to press to make it go up, supernatural or not. This was all the work of an external force of some kind. Every time he challenges the witch to move the meter, it does so without fail. Like here, for example, the timing is too much of a coincidence to be fake.
Unless you can make this device go on, then I'm not gonna believe that anything is here, haunting this area.
Apparently, it must have grown frustrated using the EMF meter over and over again, so it decides to answer his demands in a different way.
Make the lights go on. If you are the soul...
And before you say these are just lightning bugs, look again. They go from left to right one time, and then start over again in the exact same spot, so it's likely not an insect. It's getting dark soon, and the park closes, so Seeking Legends has to leave. Hopefully someday he returns to resume the conversation. But witch spirits aren't his only specialty. As mentioned before, Seeking Legends has experience hunting cryptids too. The desert cave is said to be plagued by skinwalkers, vicious tricksters of Native American legend who can assume a semi-human animal-like form. He isn't able to go down far because of breathing problems, but his worries start no sooner than the entrance when this glow stick, hung up as a marker to avoid getting lost, begins to sway in place all on its own. He's nowhere near where it begins to move, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like it's swinging even harder 3 minutes later, definitely not slowing down. Then outside of the cave, he hears what could be a Native American drum.
Listen, I hope the camera's catching that.
Hello?
And with one hand on the camera and the other visible, the angle shows it couldn't have been him making the noise.
Please tell me you guys heard that.
I will admit that the drums are a little hard to hear, but this last part isn't. Try to tell me what this voice is saying, because it sounds like it might be a different language to me, perhaps even backwards. I'm interested to see if you think this is a skinwalker or voiceover editing. It sounds like it's coming from behind the camera to me, but I'm not sure. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.